All right, folks, and we are live, and welcome to the glorious return of the Saturday show, rising from the ashes like a mighty phoenix. And with me, I have my frequent sidekick, the Tails to my Sonic, Artistic Layman.
Hello, everyone.
And returning from guarding the Master Emerald, the Knuckles to my Sonic, Undertow is joining us.
Unlike Bechtloff, I don't chuckle.
And also, we have Argent here.
Am I the Shadow?
Yeah, you're Argent Shadow. Okay. And I guess keeping with this motif, we have Rogue the Bat or NC Clark.
Rouge,
whatever.
How dare you?
Yeah. Hey guys, how you doing?
I can't believe you got that wrong.
I'm sorry, I don't know all the autistic Sonic characters.
How dare you? Don't you go to DeviantArt and look at all the Sonic?
Yeah, we have Original the character. Please don't steal. Yeah, we have Cold Steel the Hedgehog joining us.
I guess I'd be Wait a minute, I'd be Silver.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah. I was gonna say Argent would be Silver. Matt Forney would be Cold Steel.
Vector. Would he be like
Vector would be who would Vector be? Gosh,
Zeus is.
I don't know. Yeah, Zeus is Vector, and Davis would definitely be Shadow.
I'm just picturing
running out of characters.
Like smoking a cigarette and having like a bottle of like scotch and just sipping it.
Yeah,
somehow
and riding a motorcycle and shooting a 1911.
I was going to say, somehow a cigarette and a bottle of scotch wouldn't seem out of place with Shadow.
No, it was kind of work.
I think that might actually make him legitimately cool.
I think you're wrong.
All right, well, enough of this autism. Let's get to some stories here. First of all, I had an interesting little thing happen to me yesterday on the way home from work. I thought I almost ended up getting a new dog. What ended up happening is this dog like bolts out in the road, tries to cross the road as I'm heading home, really close to my house. And the dog looks lost or whatever, so I kind of pull over and I just kind of squat down and coax him over, like, come here, boy. I want to see if he had a collar or something, because we're nowhere near a house where I'm at right now. And I'm like, oh man, and he doesn't have a collar at all. And I'm like, oh shit, I can't just leave him out here to die or whatever the fuck's gonna happen to him. Oh, what am I gonna do? All right, so I take him home, and this dog, he came up to me, he was friendly, he imprinted on me like immediately. He's like, oh, he's just super friendly. So I get him inside. He feels kind of skinny, but I'm not. Some little dogs just feel skinny. So I'm like, I'll give him some food and some water and then figure this out. And I'm like, okay, well, it was kind of near my neighborhood, but not totally. So I'm like, all right, well, I gotta find, like, I gotta go from house to house, see if like somebody knows where the hell this dog belongs. Because I can't afford a dog right now. Good Lord. And I can't, and this dog is like buddying up to me, something fierce. I'm like, God damn it, buddy. No, please don't. Because that's the thing about a dog. You don't pick a dog picks you. And I'm like, damn it. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, did some jackass Ronnie Redneck just like, leave him out in the middle of nowhere with no collar, like abandon him? You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I figure out where it is. There's a house at the edge of my kind of neighborhood. And it actually sat abandoned for a couple of years, and I guess these people bought it at cheap. There's like, I don't know, like 15 motherfucking hippies or something living in this house. They just raise a lot of fucking animals that they let wander around way too much, like chickens and shit like that. They let them wander into the road. Well, I stop at the one house, and the guy there like, oh, that belongs to that house 2 houses down. And immediately I know what house I'm talking about. I go, fuck. Well, I knock on the door, and this lady's all like, I'm like, is this your dog? Did you lose your dog? Oh, we didn't lose him. He was just out. Like, he was just out, like across a field in the middle of the road with no collar. What do you mean he was just out? He was out looking for work? What was he out doing? I'm like,
someone in this household is.
Yeah, I'm like mad at this lady. I'm like, he was in the middle of the road with no collar. I thought he was lost. Oh, well, he's fine. And in fairness, as I look back, he was headed in the direction of back to his house. he just was way further out than any fucking dog should be. But yeah, that was this really nerve-wracking thing on the way home from work. Like, I'm thinking, like, man, am I gonna be stuck with this dog? Have I accidentally rescued it? Because I'm not that, like, I couldn't just drive off. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this dog just out in the middle of nowhere. And see Clark's in the chat like, you stole a dog. Good job. I almost stole a dog. Trust me. I almost regret taking him back to those people because that poor thing's gonna get run over. But yeah, that was my afternoon, just accidentally making friends with a dog. So yeah, that was a fun time there. So a couple of thoughts of stories I want to get to. Some of these won't take long because I don't have a ton to say, but it's kind of interesting. There was a bit of a scandal, and I don't have one of the stories in front of me because, you know, I've heard about. I heard it mostly from the day job and stuff like that, and I did see like a video on it. So apparently, as many of you may know, the sports ball's going on. We got the Super Bowl next Sunday. What is it? Patriots and the Eagles. Good Lord, and nobody's shutting up about it in my area. And on a little side note, let me just say that while football fans in general are kind of dipshits, Eagle fans in particular are generally a very special brand of shithead. Some of the going-ons after the Eagles' last win in Philadelphia included spray painting the windshields of random cars green.
What?
And just general, burning down of a city going on. And it's so
I always think
before the game, the police Crisco'd up all the stoplight poles to keep assholes from climbing up on them.
Oh my God.
That's something the police felt the need to do before a fucking football game started.
I always feel they should just shoot people who riot because of sports games.
Yes,
it just really irritates me.
I'm not opposed to that. We're not talking about somebody got drunk at a bar and stumbled home. We're talking about people that are just wreaking havoc upon the world.
That happened in Vancouver one year. And I forget, someone lost some game, and because of that there was like rioting in the streets and they burned a bunch of cars. And I don't know if they can bring the picture up, but there was this couple who was kissing amidst the they were like making out in the streets amidst all this chaos and destruction, and it became this iconic image.
No, jeez. So I don't know much about sports ball, but even I know that just because it's information it's all but forced upon me in this area, that there's one thing about the Eagles that they're very good at choking at the last minute. And rustling papers there.
I apologize. That was me. I'm having to symbol stuff for a friend here.
Mute your mic when you're not talking then. So yeah, there's that image too. So apparently there's some video of some referees celebrating with the Patriots after their last win. I guess the games that were played last weekend to determine who goes to the Super Bowl. And that was causing a bit of an uproar. And apparently some NFL officials basically all but admitted that they rigged the games. It's been a big open secret. Again, even I know this shit and I don't follow this stuff. It's been a big open secret for a while. Back in the 90s, it was the Cowboys that the NFL system was clearly in the tank for. And this past 10 years or so, it's been the Patriots. But when they outright admit that, and particularly the time right now, when you've got all the kneeling, all the Black Lives Matter horse shit, the pink jerseys for the titty cancer, and all this other stuff that, just fagging the whole place up. The NFL's ratings are in the shitter right now. Now, I mean, for NFL standards, they're still better than most things.
I just want to defend the NFL for a minute because I didn't know what breast cancer was or that it was even a thing before I saw that. So I was watching. My father was watching, and I came by and why are they look like a bunch of faggots? Why are they wearing the pink? And he's like, well, son, it's because of breast cancer. I'm like, what the hell is breast cancer? And then we sat down and we had a conversation about it. And I had my male privilege checked.
Oh, Lordy.
Here's the thing: men can also have breast cancer.
No, they can't.
If you're just gonna make things up, I think don't they have like a game where they all wear brown for prostate cancer? I'm not sure.
Yeah. What percentage of the population do you think doesn't know what breast cancer is?
Oh, at this rate, for
Well, like who's who's not like mentally retarded and like who's actually who's capable of knowing what it is. Like,
what?
I don't know.
Well, clearly it's not very high. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to keep telling us.
True. Yeah, I wasn't aware of it.
So look, the NFL's now. I will say, in defense of the sports ball fans, that I'm kind of surprised this past year that their ratings have dropped. I always thought that football was basically a religion, that it was basically bulletproof in this country. And I mean, part of the reason I saw that is I saw firsthand, here in my area where, we just chose to ignore the scandal of, Penn State covering up for pedophilia because of football. And that was just college football for football.
Well, I mean, Bechtloff, there's touching kids, and then there's being black.
But this is, and look, this is incredibly stupid of them for them to push this shit. I get why they did it during the Obama years, because let's be real. Here's why a lot of these corporations go down the SJW route or go down the lib shit route. It's because they know that conservative politicians aren't going to use government power against them. Liberal politicians are, so they kiss up to them. Basically, it's like paying protection money to the mob. It's like, here, I'm championing your one bullshit cause. Please let me do business. And a few years ago, you basically had all the leftists threatening to shut down the NFL because, sometimes they bump their heads and stuff like that. Boo fucking who. This millionaire might get a concussion. Let's all cry him a goddamn river. And you had Obama speaking out against it and all this shit. And I bet you that's why the NFL doubled down on this SJW shit, trying to get these people off their backs. Well, times have changed, guys. All right. Obama's not the president anymore. Maybe you cool down off that shit. Things are shifting right a little bit. And I don't believe they've gotten that memo, and it's hurt their ratings in a big way. Now, I personally find the obsession with the NFL to be obnoxious, gay, a little cucky, and I personally find NFL games to be completely fucking unwatchable, and always have. Obviously, I'm a nerd. I'm not a huge fucking sports guy in the first place, but I can watch hockey. I like hockey. Hell, I'm not particularly inclined to watch it, but if my buddies are watching some basketball, I can watch it because at least shit happens in those games. I can't sit through a football game. It's like every 2 seconds we take a fucking timeout. It feels like you're playing 2 minutes worth of a game in the course of 45 minutes. I can't sit through it.
You just don't want to see black guys in tights smash each other. You'd rather see white guys in giant armor hit each other on the eyes.
Yes, I guess that's true.
I think what's one of the most frustrating aspects of this is all these industries they're destroying. It's so bad for business. Like, they're doing this to video games, the target market of which was traditionally white males, and they're doing this to football, which is once again white males, and then they did it to like movies like Star Wars. And I think the most frustrating thing is they don't care about the fact that they're losing money. Like, they don't give a shit.
Same thing with, you're talking to somebody who used to be a Marvel Comics fan. So.
No, I was going to bring that up.
I understand.
Sorry, I was going to get to
that
as well. Yeah.
Fun moment. I'm actually banned from talking about Star Wars at my local hobby store where I hang out.
Why? Because you're shitting on it too much?
No, because they agree with me, but they just don't want to hear it anymore.
Fantastic.
But so the whole
lie. A similar thing to that. My buddy who I used to do the comic stand with, he's a huge Conan fan. That's like his favorite fictional thing ever. And he just found out that Marvel.
What does he like so much about a talk show host?
Yeah, he just found out that Marvel Comics is getting the Conan.
Oh no!
start next year. So like I was teasing him about like what is best in life to check your privilege. And I'm like, I'm going off about how like, the story is going to be the evil wizard Drump is attacking and Conan and his boyfriend
from his white cathedral on top of
But Conan's like the most alpha as fuck
like
guy.
Conan and his boyfriend have to fight him off, and I'm like, and then in issue 2, he's gonna watch some black guy fuck Red Sonja.
He's literally from Hyperborea.
Yeah.
So he's like Julius.
Honest to God, my friend basically just like, I'm turning off my phone now. As I'm texting him all these things because he's just crying about it.
This image.
Stump your enemies.
Oh, that's great.
Falling behind you.
So this whole lefty takeover nonsense, they attempted that. Oops, they attempted that in my sphere, which is tabletop games, specifically with Warhammer and Games Workshop, because they're the pretty much the only game in town as far as industry movers and shakers. And there were all these articles and stuff. You may remember back when I was still on the show, there was an article about how they need to they need to take out people wearing furs because PETA was like, oh, it's so mean to kill animals. And everyone was like, bitch, this is a setting where the Nazis are the good guys and it gets worse from there. Like
hasn't Magic the Gathering been like totally cucked in the
Magic the Gathering has,
After they did
totally
the reboot,
totally dove in.
It's funny because when I went to Fan Expo, they had a panel on how to add more diversity into problematic D&D campaigns. It's like, because they were complaining that there aren't enough games.
They even want to regulate your own dang home games. That is unreal.
And they're like, it's problematic that so many of these, because it's set in medieval Europe, everyone's white, and we have to acknowledge like the diversity that existed. So they were helping them come up with ideas for that.
So get this. Here's what Games Workshop did. When they had a bunch of people saying, we need more female characters in the Games Workshop stuff. And they were like, oh, don't worry. We've got a lot more female characters coming. Stay tuned. And just the other day.
My cut card.
I'm sure he'll know that you're more happy to have it than he is. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Oh, shit.
So anyway.
The total happiness in the world.
So Games Workshop just released an update to a faction called the Daughters of Cain, which is like Nagas, which are, like mermaids, but with snakes instead of fish. They're
that
like,
sounds cool.
They're like wearing nothing. And Games Workshop was like, more women and no fur. Okay, got it. Here's tits with scales. Go. And it's just all hanging out on these models. And we're like, okay, we're safe. They don't care. Yeah, that's one of the old models. The new ones are really, really great, Luke. Let me grab you a picture. I'll send you something to put up.
I'm thinking of doing a little animated video on how my favorite Magic card is. There's one from like the 90s where there's like some ghost girl in a swamp and you can kind of see her tits through the dress.
Oh, Lost Soul.
And I'm going to be like, this is my favorite Magic card. I don't know anything about it's like I don't know anything about Magic, but you can see your tits.
No, like a decade or so, they did like a huge reboot, and it's been cucked since then. And they just killed off most of every main character. So, and that was just a bunch of like angsty teenagers and stuff like that.
Well, getting back to the NFL, I realize we've moved on to things we find more interesting. But I do think this may be a bit of a last name. I don't think they're going to die by any stretch, but they may not become the fucking juggernaut. They may not be the juggernaut they once were. Maybe finally we'll live in a world where everything isn't fucking preempted because of a football game.
Yeah. Good luck.
And you know what I noticed this year that was quite interesting? And I mentioned it on here before, but I go to a Thanksgiving dinner with extended family, and I got a lot of working class, good old Ronnie Redneck cousins. And normally what would happen is I get there kind of early, and I'm usually like, I find like a Bond movie marathon or something on the TV to watch. And then inevitably everybody comes in and they turn on the game. All right, whatever. I'm not going to argue with them. Well, what I noticed this year is I come in, and I'm flipping the channel. It's like, oh, Jurassic Park's on. and everybody comes in, and nobody said put on the game. I took notice of that. You know, anecdotal evidence, but still.
You may not have noticed it.
Jurassic Park
Brandon.
and Bond movie sounds like an awesome day.
Yes, that's generally what I watch on things, because usually somebody's either running a Bond movie marathon or some sort of action movie marathon. So that's generally what I tune to.
I love Bond movies. I haven't really seen much about it. I can only imagine
There
how
it
much
is.
they trigger feminists.
So yeah, and the other thing that might hurt him is Vince McMahon is thinking of restarting the XFL, or was that the XFL or the whatever the hell his football thing that he tried to start back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think it lasted like a year. But he's all like, you know, we're not going to have any of this faggy kneeling shit for the anthem. We're going to stand for the anthem like men and all this stuff. I mean, he's going off on it, and I'm like, he might have a chance now.
Yeah.
And you know, I actually saw a few of the XFL games back in the day and found them kind of entertaining because they were arena football and the ball wouldn't go out of bounds all the fucking time. I'm sorry, the NFL games are just too fucking slow paced for my taste. Like I said, I can't watch something where you take a timeout every 3 fucking seconds. You know, ain't nobody got time for that. All right, well, moving on.
Nothing. He's just for a second, it looks like he was editing it so that Vince McMahon was staring at the elf tits.
All right, moving on. Another story I wanted to cover. Gloria Allred is suing Walmart. Now, Gloria Allred, for those of you, yeah, she is. That is one of the worst human beings to have ever walked this planet. A just society would have drawn and quartered this fucking shyster a long time ago.
Isn't it weird that you can always tell from the way their faces look?
You know, we tell kids a lot. We tell kids you can't judge a book by its cover, and that's bullshit. What you need to tell kids is that you can't always judge a book by its cover, but about 9 times out of 10, it is amazing how often you can just look at a person and know like every opinion of them.
Yep.
It's like you could just look at Gloria Allred and know like that's just a terrible person. Now the reason she's suing Walmart is because Walmart has a general policy, and you've probably seen the memes of it, where the black hair care products get put behind some protective things because it turns out that market of people is a little bit more prone to steal shit. And she's going to sue Walmart over this because this is some sort of, you know, horrible infringement on people's rights because reasons. And you know what? Assuming she gets anywhere with this, the only thing that's going to happen is all the fucking hair care products are going to go behind the glass. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the great crabs in the bucket shit with liberals. Everything they accomplish only drags us all down. Here's a thought. Maybe y'all didn't stop stealing shit and you won't have that problem. I'm just throwing that out there, but maybe you just stop stealing shit. How about that?
How about you stop stealing that dog that you done stole from the road? What you talking about?
Mm-hmm. You tell him, girl.
You stole a white man's dog. He was just going back to his house. He didn't do nothing. You just done picked him up and took him to your house. Stole him from the hippies.
That dog was a good quarter of a mile away. But he was, now that I think back, he was heading back in that direction. I just interrupted his process to play with him, feed him, and water him on the way home.
The dog like tried to bite a police officer, and the police officer shot him.
I don't know why Luke threw Movie Bob up into the middle of this, but okay.
He always throw Movie Bob up, but
I know why he did. He's saying, look, you can always tell from the faces, just like we were saying.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got what you're going for there, Luke. I just think all of a sudden Movie Bob's here. Like, what the hell? We can't escape it. I didn't even bring him up. He goes up.
Bingo.
Does that one count though? Because I didn't bring him up.
Hey, he's on the screen. You said the words.
You stole that dog. I almost stole that dog.
Maybe you should go back and steal him.
Yeah, maybe I should.
They're gonna put him behind glass.
He's seen
They're gonna make sure that you don't touch him.
Next time I go there, it'll be behind glass.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Finally, keep track of them. That's all I ask. The amount of times I've driven by that house and there'd been like chickens in the fucking road and shit. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you people? God bless my fucking redneck area. So yeah, that's Gloria Allred for us. What else we got going on this week? Oh, you know what I want? Let's talk about the saga of DSP. and then the catfish thing. So
man, so I texted this to Bechtloff, but who would ever thought that somebody who hated Kojima so much that the group made to harass him was just called Sons of Kojima, that this guy would himself get embroiled in a Kojima level convoluted conspiracy plot?
Dude, his life is a bad Metal Gear game.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like worse than Chris Chan in that regard.
It's like Flabby Snake.
All right. Before we get to that, though, I do want to go ahead and do the sponsor before I forget, because we do have a sponsor this week. So the sponsor this week is akingscastle.com. A King's Castle is a place for men who want to leave a legacy and advance Western civilization, with daily articles by various authors, lively commentators who have both serious discussions and fun-loving jokes, a forum for more serious discussion, and even occasional lowly trolling. You will want to make A King's Castle a daily visit and add it to your RSS feed. Whether you are a father, someone who wants to become one, or just want to be a masculine man looking to bang more women, A King's Castle is the next step in the manosphere and will encourage you to become a man with long-term purpose. Stop by kingscastle.com today. Also down below, you'll see the PayPal and the Patreon if you enjoy the show. And, we are back to the regular Saturday show. You can support this by being a regular supporter on Patreon. You can send a one-time donation on the PayPal. Or if you're in the chat, you hit up the old Super Chat. I know a lot of people like doing that these days. And I do have Super Chat enabled now. So, yeah. All right. Somebody in the chat says, is A King's Castle more like is it more like West Coast Reactionaries or Return of Kings? I would say A King's Castle is probably a bit more trad version of Return of Kings.
Oh shit! Is that Babylonian Hebrew in the chat?
It is bad.
Yeah. Shout outs to my boy. Long time no chat, man.
I don't know who that is.
That is somebody who I used to chat with every now and then back when I was frequenting Millennial Woes' channel.
Ah, yes. The alt-right's official hobo.
I think he just, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything else.
He looks very slovenly. That's all I'm going to say. Somebody in the chat to of Arini's video last time Millennial Woes was on there, it goes, he looks like Roosh if he let himself go. Yeah. Which Millennial Woes did not like, because he has a hate boner for Roosh that I haven't seen a bigger hate boner for Roosh since Jordan Owen. All right, so moving on. What were we going to talk about next? Oh yes, the DSP saga. So this insane fucking saga. Yeah, that's from the Medicare video on it. Medicare did a great video on it if you want the rundown. But I did a live stream where we were talking about, I had Forney on, we were talking about this. And I mentioned that I wasn't really sure that it was true. And this was at a time when everyone believed it, because there was a little bit of evidence to support it. So apparently, let's start at the beginning, shall we? All of a sudden, this hooker pops up and claims that DSP has been hiring her for the girlfriend experience, which with DSP, I'm sure is where after sex, he plays video games while she complains he doesn't take her anywhere. and she's claiming that DSP owes her like thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that his tax problem is actually the money he needs to pay off his hooker.
And she's all like, "Bitch, better have my money, or I'm gonna start, telling all these embarrassing secrets of you."
Okay, just to say, how crazy is the idea? Because he brought up the tax thing for months, that he's had a long-term plan for the last 6 months to raise money to pay for a prostitute by having this elaborate faking of a tax scam. Like,
yeah, I don't think DSP's smart enough to do that.
I don't think DSP's smart enough to do his taxes.
Apparently not.
So DSP is, of course, claiming this is all bullshit. It's just the haters, and nobody believes him because he's generally full of shit.
I just want to let the record show. I never believed the prostitute thing. I thought it was shenanigans from the beginning.
I didn't either.
I didn't even hear about it.
Here's the thing. I thought there was a good chance the prostitute story was real. What I didn't believe were her sordid details. When she's out there all trying to be like, DSP has a little dick and he likes getting fucked in the ass, I'm like, that sounds like the kind of thing that she's just saying to try and get him to really further embarrass him.
Does anyone know what ethnicity Panda Lee is? Because that's something that's been bothering me since I first saw her.
I'm gonna guess
all of the above,
or a little bit of Hispanic, maybe like half Hispanic, half white. If I had to guess.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's what I thought. It's a mystery. Her last name's Hagen, which makes it even weirder.
I gotta say, she's weirdly fuckable. I'm not really sure
I don't
why.
I think Pandalee's that bad looking.
She's not bad looking, but
she's a complete bitch. But
I don't know, man. Something about her.
Raise your standards, people.
How dare you? She knows how to make soap.
No, I just
okay. It's like
to
clover coffee, but soap.
I don't think she's bad looking. I don't think she's particularly good looking. It's just something about her. Like, she seems like just the right amount of bitch where she might be a good ride. That's all I'm saying. She's got a certain fire in her that I find intriguing. Let me put it that way. That said, though, like, DSP is never going to do better again in his fucking life, and I have to think about it.
His new
DSP is never going to do again in his life.
So this hooker is out there saying that DSP likes to get fucked in the ass with a dildo that looks like a horse cock to me. Not that I'm a particular expert on different penises, but if I had to throw a guess out there, that's what it looked like to me. And she's going off about all this stuff, and she's got a legitimate escort page, with, at least at the time, where, by the way, on the escort page, it says you could pay her to take a dump on her. She has a bid in there, or did, I should say, and it's where it said, if you want to book me for urine or feces play, let me know in advance so I can take the right medication to protect myself. I didn't know there was an anti-poop eating pill you could take. I didn't know there was a pill.
It's called a bullet.
There's a pill you could take where it makes it safe to eat shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a magic potion that makes you forget all those desires as well.
Yeah, they have
called bleach.
They have a cherry chewable version of it.
It's the dirt cookies they make in Haiti. That's what protects you from it. But there it is. There it is.
No.
Luke's got it. Please let me know if you want to include urine or feces sex games so I can take the necessary medication for protection.
So you know what? With her saying that, actually, I'm thinking it was probably just airborne.
So if I recall, didn't they hack her account 6 or 7 years ago, and they've been keeping it in reserve for a random.
This is apparently
that was the cover story.
That was
there was a deeper layer than that. This kept going deeper and deeper layers.
Okay, I just want to say that layer. So at one point we thought that this account was hacked 6 years ago and it had been lying dormant as like a troll's backup, and they like reactivated it. So like people were
that was the story, because that's hilarious playing that kind of a long game.
No, because they were like, see, it's not just us fucking with him, like coming up with this escort story right now. It's been around this whole time.
So yeah, that was the story for a while, and then at one point they were saying it turns out it was Fred Fuchs from Sons of Kojima. This is like the end of a Scooby-Doo episode that just won't stop ending. Like, we keep unmasking it. It's Homemade Adventures. No, it's the guy. No, it turns out. No, it's Fred Fuchs.
No, it's actually Frankenstein.
Because, like, I know because I had that guy Kavri on my channel, and he received multiple death threats through text messages. And when I talked to Vidar about it, Vidar's like, no, that was Fred Fox impersonating me using a phone-changing app.
Man,
and he's the person who actually doxed everybody, not me.
You know you have screwed up when you become such a scapegoat for Phil's people.
Jeez. So then we come to find out, and I don't even understand how this works or is profitable, but this whole thing belonged to some sort of catfishing empire of these two fat people who, like, this couple of fat people.
You can take that down if you want, Luke. You don't want the video to get removed. Yeah. Also, no, that's not a horse.
Well, what, he had the dildo thing up?
Yeah.
No, we had that up here before. That's not.
Oh,
good.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, picture
just
the dildo
sure.
thing.
All right.
But yeah, Medicare was thinking the same thing. Okay, so this is who actually it was. We've unmasked the Scooby-Doo villain like 14 fucking times, and we get down to this. This is as deep as we've gone so far. At this point, I'm not even 100%. It's not going to get weirder. But apparently, these two jackasses run a fucking catfishing empire where they try to trick men into either sending money or bribing money out of them by pretending to be hot girls or escorts or whatever. So in other words, they'd be like, book me for this escort service, and then this girl never shows up because she was never real. And what are you going to do about it? Go to the cops and say my hooker didn't show up? So they've been doing this forever, right? For years.
They picked too high profile a target this time.
Yeah, and next thing you know, the fucking weaponized autism is on them, and people are finding the inconsistencies. And
you targeted a meme.
Sorry, how many levels deep are we on this? Because
about like 6 or 7, man.
Yeah, we're easily 4 or 5. DSP vindicated.
He was, though. He actually was.
Oh yeah. Sorry, just before. So I just wanted to briefly mention. I don't know if anybody. I mentioned it beforehand, but the whole on Kiwi Farms, they called it the Great January Harvest. Basically, allegedly, Vidar was going to Kiwi Farms, and he had doxed a bunch of people and sent them death threats. And the guy I had on Kavri, someone doxed him and sent him text messages, which I've seen, that were like, if you talk to anybody about your story, we're going to kill you, and we're going to kill your daughter. We know where she goes to school. Stuff like that. So apparently, like, he went to a couple people who were like hardcore hackers. So they doxed everybody in the DSP community. They got all everybody who used his website, and they're like, until Phil denounces Vidar, we're going to be releasing the docs of a person every 24 hours.
It's like freaking ISIS. We'll execute a hostage every day.
And they did. They released, I think, 3 people before DSP released a video going, please, everybody, stop going to... Like, what kind of moron goes to Kiwi Farms and starts threatening people? It's like the absolute worst place you can go. Like, the website is dedicated to trolling.
Ironically, that sentence sounds like something that Phil would say. What kind of moron goes to Kiwi Farms?
No, he said that.
I know.
I'll give him credit. He actually did a pretty strong disavowal. He's like, look, it's fucking stupid. Stop going. to Kiwi farts.
This Phil face is just great.
No, that's Vidar. Is that Vidar?
No. The one that Luke just put
jeez. All right, so super chat. We got a super chat here. Hank Williams Jr. asked, "Does Undertow offer the girlfriend experience?"
Yes.
Scrolling through here, making sure we ain't got no other super chats. Trying to keep an eye on that. So, thank you for the super chat. And yes, Undertow does offer the girlfriend experience.
How do you think I got on here originally?
So yeah, look, I have to admit this. Look, I've never really hated DSP, but I've been fascinated by what a bizarre fucking train wreck he is.
DSP is like the slightly more. It's just a different flavor of Chris Chan.
Yeah,
he is Chris Chan with substantially more agency.
It's more functional Chris Chan. It's like I don't like. It's not like Spoonie or Movie Bob where I'm outright like, no, fuck that guy. I hope everything bad happens to him.
He has less outrageous but way more engaging story arcs. Season 3 was amazing.
No, there's a lot of DSP logs, and they actually will attack me the few times I've defended him. Like I've had people say that I'm a Phil, that I cock-ride Phil every chance I get.
Here's the thing, though. There's a few times in just the time I've been following him that we've seen that DSP has been outright vindicated. Okay. That's fucking hilarious.
No, he's a bad person. Like, he's a really bad dude. But at the end of the day, he's just some like douchebag who streams like crappy video game footage.
But like when he was rambling on about how, the YouTube ad system was all fucked up and he's getting all fucked out of his money, and everyone just complained, or everyone just said, "Oh, Phil's just being a whiny little bitch."
No, I agreed with him. He was right.
Yeah, he was a canary in the coal mine, because wasn't it like 6 months later the full-on adpocalypse happens and everyone notices it?
No, it's complete. Like, I was having the same experience as a lot of people were.
When DSP says it, everyone says, "Oh, fuck you, DSP." When Mundane Fat says it, all of a sudden it's a big deal. Oh, now we, and when like the sons of Kojima were fucking dickheads. Okay, let's be real. You can shit on Phil all you want, but those guys were, first of all, they weren't that entertaining.
Yeah.
They had to have a decent guest on to be entertaining. And
like Secret Life of DSP.
Like, why would you devote your whole fucking channel to just bitching about one guy? I mean, come on.
And Phil Snort Burnell does the best job of that, of the people.
Well, that's like specific little videos and all, but like your entire online presence, it's like you want to make a fucking talk show all about shitting on one individual.
Fred Fox had docs on like dozens of people that he like used to blackmail them to go along with his plans to try to screw Phil over. Like,
Phil became this lightning rod for a bunch of really shitty people to feel better about themselves.
No, it's true.
That was the interesting thing about this. And you know what? This whole thing with the prostitute thing, he came out clean as a whistle on it, didn't he?
Yep.
Yep.
This is why Phil is so much more interesting than Chris Chan to me, because he's not always wrong. He, like, every now and then you get one of these,
Like, I 100%, like, I think
he's a more fleshed out
right.
He's got a way more believable villain motivation.
But like, no, he was 100% right. The ad thing was bullshit. A lot of people just got screwed. Demonetization made no sense. And yeah, a lot of people just attacked him because it was Phil, but then other people started complaining, and then it was bad. Did you guys hear about the sponsorship thing that happened the other day?
What's that?
Okay, so this was, I think, 2 days ago. A gaming chair company approached him and asked him to, offered to sponsor him. So they were going to send him a gaming chair, and he was going to review it, and he plugged them on his stream. And then a bunch of detractors sent the company tweets. And the company apparently looked at the lolcow wiki, and from looking at that, determined they didn't want to pursue business with Phil.
Oh,
so they
that's shitty. I mean, what's the point of that?
And I actually I said it was bullshit because these companies will give this to like the thoughtiest of thoughtish Twitch streamer girls and like all kinds of shitty people, but no, we can't give it to Phil. And B, I just don't like fucking with the guy IRL. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Well, Phil just needs to show more cleavage.
It's
exactly
In the game.
See, when it comes to internet weirdos, you gotta observe the Prime Directive. You never interfere. You just observe. It's unethical otherwise.
I wish SOK would have done that.
Yeah, seriously.
They didn't do that, and I even know because I tried to join SOK once.
I did too.
Yeah, no, it's
we all did. Let's be real,
dude. Like, because
it was like I've got better commentary than this. Yeah,
and it's like I found out that some of them, well, most of them were like Phil fans in the past, and some of them actually were paying Phil money through PayPal and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting there going, well, you don't like him, but you're paying for him? That's kind of weird to me.
I just found them really like politically correct and left wing.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like I was on like one of their Skype groups, and one guy was screaming about how Phil was a filthy racist Nazi and he deserves to die in the street of AIDS. And I was just like, isn't that a little extreme? And like Phil, I've consistently defended Phil and said Phil isn't a racist. He just makes some lame, mildly politically incorrect jokes. He's not like a hardcore racist. And
racist jokes are okay as long as they're funny.
Yeah, but like I don't think he actually is. Like
he's not. That's the thing. So that's why he got in trouble.
Yeah, that supposedly anti-Semitic rant he supposedly had was just him like role playing as a Nazi when he was playing this game. Like
you're saying he's not my Führer? What?
No, he's all
damn
like,
it!
Oh, but
not
like myself and a lot of people kind of in these circles, he's not actually racist, like in any meaningful sense. He just is bad at making like non-PC. There was one video it goes DSP tries it casual racism, and it was literally him just talking about how shitty the neighborhood he was that he lived in.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Anybody who uses the term casual racism unironically is probably a huge faggot.
That and when I interacted with
But you know what? Fox, you're probably more happy calling them that than they are sad that you called them that. So
but yeah, like Fred happiness is like when I met him, he was the fucking like he creeped me out. Because he would like watch all of my videos, and if I mentioned him or anybody he was friends with, he would send me like Skype ones like, come on and debate me about this. Come on and debate me
talk to me about it.
Mm-hmm. Fight me in real life.
Yeah.
What the fuck did you just say to me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I'm a top sniper in the U.S. Navy SEALs.
I'm really close friends with the guy who runs Earl of Grey, and people send him that a lot.
Ironically,
Seventh Son has repeatedly challenged him to fights IRL.
Oh,
like that's like an ongoing thing.
Dude, and don't get me wrong, I've had disagreements with Earl of Grey too, but some of the fucking haters he gets on like the Facebook page and Twitter and all of it are fucking hilarious. It's like you have no idea how much you're proving his point.
Well, he's kind of he likes to troll, and people just take the bait. But yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, that was the DSP saga, and boy, what a saga. For the full thing on that, I highly recommend Mediker's video. It was like DSP King of Catfish or something like that.
Also,
how did DSP respond to it? I'm assuming he saw it.
DSP basically lives in a bubble. I mean, he doesn't respond to shit on the internet. He really doesn't. And you got to.
He is a transmitter, not a receiver.
Yeah, DSP. You know, I mean, he doesn't even acknowledge your existence if you're not throwing shekels at him. He's as unapproachable as one of them like Findom cam whores. Like you have to just to catch his attention, you have to be throwing nickels at him.
And I kind of feel sorry for the guy in some ways because he literally just lives in his full adult house. He never leaves it. He doesn't like. When does he ever actually interact with another human being?
There are
when they're sending him money.
Yeah.
Nobody. He doesn't even like voice chat to people. He doesn't even text chat with people. All he does is he just talks at them and says, "Oh, cock balls in the mouth." Says, "I screw your mom. Thanks for the 5 bits. That's going to help pay the bills." And that's his only human interaction. Like, I'm kind of a hermit, but if I went like weeks without talking to anybody, I'd go insane.
Yeah, I would not want Phil's life. I would not want that at all. So here's an article. Let me bring it up. I think I shared it on Gab. Dennis Prager. Now, Dennis Prager is about as much of a basic bitch tradcon baby boomer as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I admit I used to be a big fan of his back in the day.
But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't like Prager. You on YouTube are actually some pretty good videos, but as I said, for the most part, Prager is about it. I hate to use the term religious right because it's almost been bastardized to death, but he's about as basic bitch religious right as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually Jewish, but
Yeah,
politically, he's completely in line with the more political wings of evangelicals. He has come out and said that his opposition to Trump was wrong. I didn't even realize he was a big anti-Trump guy, but it doesn't surprise me because, as we'll get to here in a second, my opposition to President or Donald Trump was wrong, said Dennis Prager, describing Donald Trump as a great president whose political successes are connected to disregard for the left wing and partisan Democrat. Here's the thing, and Undertow, you said this brilliantly months and months ago, maybe a year ago on this show.
I think a little over a year.
So many of these people, they don't understand the difference between manners and morality. And the entirety of the evangelical, pearl-clutching, anti-Trump response from a lot of these leaders. Not evangelical rank and file. Because
like McMuffin?
That, I think, was outright deep state plan. But guys like...
McMuffin?
No, yeah, I think that McMuffin was...
Oh, you think he was? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but guys like John Stonestreet, Eric Metaxas, guys like Prager, guys like Dobson was initially weary of the guy, James Dobson, I think. Glenn Beck, with Glenn Beck, I think it was more personal. Glenn Beck always struck me as a gamma male triggered by an alpha swagger.
Glenn Beck is legitimately insane.
Yeah, but with no argument here. And with a lot of these guys, it struck me as just pearl clutching. Like Trump, he just offended their sensibilities. For one thing, Trump liked to really, obviously, show off his wealth, which a lot of evangelicals can't stand. He made no bones about the fact that he likes pussy, and certainly a lot of them can't stand that. Basically, Trump had a certain alpha swagger. He had a certain rudeness about him, even that so many of and again, not evangelical rank and file, mind you. You polled actual evangelicals during the primaries, and they were all about Trump. I'm talking about the pussy ass leaders, the little pearl clutchers. None of them could stand him, and the irony is he has done more for their pet causes than any president in generations.
Yep.
He's already done more for the fucking pro-life cause. And remember, they loved Bush, right? And here's a good example of not understanding manners versus morality. They think, so many of these evangelical leaders think George W. Bush was a good man. George W. Bush was a shithead. He was borderline retarded. I would argue he was a war criminal. He is a former drug addict. The children he raised turned out to be whores. And then you look at somebody like Trump.
One of the children he raised turned out to be Jeb Bush. So think about that.
No, I meant W. I'm talking about W.
Okay.
But yeah, his 2 daughters are whores. He was a former drug addict. He's borderline retarded. He's just an overall dipshit. And then you look at somebody like Trump, who, he despite incredible opulence and a divorce, managed to raise a bunch of well-adjusted children.
They're great.
Gets along swimmingly with his ex-wives. Most men can't get their exes to speak to them.
They endorsed him.
Lives an incredibly clean lifestyle. Doesn't drink. Doesn't, his only real vice is, liking the ladies a little too much. And evangelicals so many of these evangelical leaders just think he's an immoral dirtbag.
Well, the
because
thing
he said pussy once or something.
The thing about the women is I don't think Trump's ever pretended to be some puritanical, like, family values guy.
Well, that's my point. He doesn't even pretend to be that, and yet he lives a more arguably moral lifestyle than most of these puritanical family value guys.
Like, he has, I think it's like eight or nine grandkids now.
Yeah. But like I said, Undertow, you nailed it there when you said they don't understand manners versus morality. And when you're dealing with most of these guys, and Prager is somebody who seems to be, pulling his head out of his ass a little bit and then go, oh, I guess I was wrong. Well, yeah, you were wrong because you don't know how to judge a man. That's what it boils down to. These people don't know how to look at another human being and really get to the core of understanding them. They're just Pharisees in so many damn ways. And again, I'm not talking about your rank and file evangelicals. I'm talking about the sad, sad little beta males that represent us on the national stage. And Prager's one of the better ones. I mean, obviously, he's not evangelical, but he's in that overall political movement. But you look at guys like John Stonestreet or Eric Metaxas or James Dobson, it's like just effeminate weasels, the whole lot of them.
They're what I like to call compassionate conservatives.
Ugh.
And that compassion, in many ways, it's not going to get you to win. It really isn't. And
well, that's the other thing. They don't understand taking the fight to the other side.
Yes. Yeah. They give the other side the benefit of the doubt when they don't get that in return. And I think that's incredibly silly.
Well, if you kill your enemies, they win.
Look, there's a reason the term cuck-servative caught on so much. And there's a reason it hurt them so much. Because it cuts to the core of the problem.
Mm-hmm. They're too busy trying to be mommy's good boys to actually win.
Yeah. And this is a major problem we have. And look, I mean, I obviously get on here a lot and I shit on the Catholic Church and I take pot shots at the Orthodox. I don't shit on them nearly as much. And there's major systemic problems there. But don't think I'm not mindful to the systemic problems we have in conservative Protestantism. We have way too many good boys who always did what mommy said, running the show. And what's interesting to think that's very disconnected from the rank and file. But nonetheless, I mean, think of what it takes to become a pastor. You have to go through seminary. Yeah. And how did you get to seminary? Well, you were a good boy in school who always did what mommy told her and always did his homework and never got into trouble. And then you went to seminary and did more of the same. And then you end up behind the pulpit, an effeminate little weasel who's never, who would faint if he heard the word fuck. And again, that's not all pastors, not by a long shot. And that's certainly not the ones that have lasted a good long time. As my one favorite preacher, Steve Brown, said, he goes, I'm a grizzled old cynical man because I was a pastor for 40 years, and which means I've, mopped up more suicides than you can imagine. I've buried children. It's not the easiest job sometimes. But a lot of these young pastors, I mean, man, like James Dobson, you just had him up. That's another effeminate weasel. And that guy was a lot of people, if you don't really follow politics or Christian circles, you don't even know who that guy is. Because he wasn't big on going to shit-lib media. He spoke only to the choir, but he was a kingmaker in the Republican Party. That was a ring people had to kiss to get anywhere in the Republican Party for a long time. That's the guy that founded Focus on the Family, all right? That was probably, even though wasn't a household names like media whores like Falwell or Pat Robertson were, that was the biggest guy in the religious right back when the religious right was a force to be reckoned with.
Yep.
And he is an effeminate little weasel who would faint if you said fuck around him. All right. Well, let's there's a few more things I want to bring up the chat here just to check see if there's any super chats, stuff like that. A few more things I want to talk about. Let's cross that one off the list here. Did we talk about Amazon Alexa yet? No. This is an interesting little story. The little robot digital assistant Amazon Alexa. Well, I guess it's just a recent software update or something, but if you call it like names like sweetie or honey or something like that, it'll call you sexist and refuse to answer your question. Like, this is where we're at, people. Like,
what about bitch?
I'm pretty sure it won't respond to bitch.
Hey yo, bitch. Hey yo, bitch.
I love you, bitch.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly,
I'm gonna leave you.
If I had some digital personal, if I had something like an Alexa, that would be the first thing I'd want to program it to be. I'd make the damn thing call me daddy. All right. like if you're gonna use it, at least make it fun. All right. But no, they gotta, once again, leftists gotta suck the fun out of everything, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They truly are the new Puritans, always afraid that somewhere someone might be having a good time. I mean, there's not even like. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? It's like, these fucking technocrats, man. If they had their way, it sort of leads into that. Did we talk about the Blizzard story yet?
Nope.
It sort of leads into that where it's like, your ATM's going to refuse you, $60 out of your account because you said nigger last week or something. Like, that's the world we're entering. And speaking of which, we'll move on to the Blizzard thing because I don't know that much about Alexa, but Blizzard just announced that if you play Overwatch, aside from the fact that you probably have autism, you will they're gonna look at your account. They're going to look to see if it's tied to other social media, particularly if it's tied to, say, a YouTube account. They're going to look for videos you might have put up or comments you might have put up. And if you said some dirty words, if you had some wrongthink, they're going to ban you from the fucking game. So if you like to play some Overwatch and you said cunt in a YouTube comment under Anita Sarkeesian video or something, you're out of here, buddy. You don't even have to violate the rules on their platform. We're going to get you for shit you did elsewhere.
Right. Well, they can say goodbye to 95% of their player base.
Do you really?
They don't care, and that's the disturbing thing.
I don't think they care.
Good. Then they can just run out of money and die.
Well, we've been saying that for years, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, see, this is the thing.
Well, they haven't actually banned you for YouTube comments yet.
No, I mean to all these different companies. We've been saying, but none of them have actually gone. Have any of them gone bankrupt yet?
BioWare, it's on its way out. BioWare is like, have you seen that they've come out and said that Anthem is going to be make or break for the entire studio?
Ooh,
yeah. It's not sustainable. It's sustainable for a while, but it's just
isn't EA going to just bail them out indefinitely?
EA. Do you know anything about EA? They do the opposite of bailing studios out.
No, but I thought they were committed to like the whole political agenda.
Oh no, EA is a money-making machine, my friend. They do not care about with the hit that they took from Star Wars Battlefront 2, there is no way in hell they are going to support that crap. Because they're finally taking it in the pocketbook. Their stock dropped substantially with the release of Battlefront 2. Like there's a point where people in the legislature of Hawaii were talking about microtransactions and how they should be illegal.
Disney was going to take the Star Wars license away from them entirely for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
we are experiencing
Star Wars too much.
Yeah, that's our job. Yeah, right. I think after Last Jedi, Disney is going to very, very quickly realize that they have made a huge miscalculation because it was in China for a week and a half, and they took it out of every theater.
China, the Chinese didn't like it.
Well, I'm sure we all know why the Chinese didn't like it.
Well, no, the two reasons given were the people in it are too ugly.
Yep. Number one.
China's big on when they watch American movies, they want to see pretty white people.
Yeah.
That is their
Why else would they be watching an American movie? That's the thing. And if you were in another country and you're watching an American movie, it's because you want to see American things.
They aren't too.
And the other thing is, they claim that it's an insult to their intelligence. The plot.
That too.
Also, they really don't like black Chinese race mixing.
Yeah, that didn't help them at all.
No,
the Chinese are not fond of black folks. They're not fans. They're not.
They digitally removed Finn from the Force Awakens poster.
Yeah, that's up right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Finn's still on here, but we shoved him in the corner under the little butt plug room.
I like how in the new movie they demoted him to like a minor character, like from being a main character, just because everyone hated him so much.
Yeah. Maybe they'll demote all the characters in the next movie to being not characters anymore. Everybody hates them.
My friend Abstract Entity hates Rogue One more than The Last Jedi or Force Awakens, and he just will rant about it. He just sees it as the most soulless, money-driven, like made by a committee movie of all time.
Here's the thing: Rey is such a non-character. I think I was like actually on a stream.
I don't find the actress attractive either. Like at least give something to look at.
But I was actually honest.
Looking.
I was on.
She was significantly.
Where I said at this point, the only way you could redeem this character is if you revealed that like she was actually the physical manifestation of the light side of the Force, and that's why she actually has no personality and can do everything perfectly. Like I thought of that like on a stream because I'm like, that's the only way you can redeem this character at this point.
Honestly, I thought
such a Mary Sue.
Honestly, I thought that Snooki being Darth Plagueis would actually have redeemed his character somewhat.
Yeah.
But Snooki wasn't. We don't know anything about Snooki, nor will we ever.
So John Steele has a super chat up real quick where he says, "Why does everyone on your show hate Jews?" I don't know. It's just, you got to ask yourself, why are you thrown out of 109 countries? Is it because everyone else is an asshole?
Okay, I'm just going to very briefly. Whenever you see an article that says something like incest is an unfair stigma, or it's time to start considering pedophilia legitimate sex orientation, look at the name of the person who wrote it, and you might start to get a picture. I'm just
well, the one thing about never mind why these companies allow this. The one thing I know is like these liberals. I've said before that leftists hate the light. Let's just make it as broadly as you can. Leftists just hate the light. And if somebody's enjoying something and having fun, because they are just such hateful fucking people, they want to shit it up. Now, look, I don't like football. I don't particularly like most football fans, but that's another example where you had people just having fucking fun, and leftists got to come in and shit the place up. Yep. And they do that on everything, okay? It could be football, it could be comic books, it could be Star Wars, it could be video games, it could be fucking trading cards. It doesn't matter. Leftists are going to come here and say, hey, this is nice and all, but what if I took a piss on it?
Your fun is problematic.
See, because something in psychoanalysis, you don't take people at their word when they tell you what they want, right? You look at what their actions are leading to, and you infer from that what they actually want. And what they always end up actually doing is just making everybody else stop having fun. That's what they really want. They just want people to be as miserable and over-analytic and dour as they are.
Yes. Yeah, there's no denying that. I don't even. What? Yeah, we were talking about Blizzard. So before we move on from this topic, there's something else I want to say. First of all, fuck Blizzard. Okay, I have never. I have friends that love all their fucking games and shit like that. And everybody calls him this legendary developer. And maybe I'm missing something here, but the things they're most famous for, to me, all seem like fucking Skinner boxes. All seem like the worst aspect of fucking video games. World of Warcraft is arguably evil. All right? Now, don't get me wrong. I can understand why you're fascinated by the lore of it and all that shit, but it's almost like all that shit that boomers say about video games being a huge waste of time and just completely devoid of any redeeming value. World of Warcraft kind of is that shit, okay? It's basically Farmville, but with higher production values. It's a never-ending fucking hamster.
Wait, sorry. Did you just say high production values in World of Warcraft in the same sentence?
I said higher than Farmville.
Oh, okay.
Higher is relative term. It's just a never-ending fucking hamster wheel. And I didn't say it wasn't fun. Don't get me wrong. Smoking crack is fun, all right? It's just not necessarily a life choice you want to make.
Remember EverQuest? Back when they used to call it Evercrack? You had people committing suicide over that game and getting fired from their jobs.
Yeah, I did that a couple times.
I have a friend who still plays EverQuest too.
Oh.
Guy at the game store.
Yeah. And it's the same with Overwatch. So many of these are arena, like, kind of shooter games like Overwatch, where it's just, never-ending fucking matches to level up your character so you can play more fucking matches to the end of goddamn time.
Yeah, but all you get for leveling your character is just skins. There's no, like, game progression.
I don't really see the point of any of this. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could say that about any kind of fun, any kind of entertainment, whatever. It just... I've never seen World of Warcraft or I've never seen Blizzard in general as anything other than everything that's wrong with video games as a hobby.
Well, did you catch my comment in the chat there? Did you know that every character in Overwatch has an alternative sexuality? Or at least like a bunch of them do. It's like on their little bio page. Like you go and check out the bios of Undertow's favorite game, Team Fortress 2. And they've got a funny little bio for each of the classes. In Overwatch, it also lists their preferred sexuality and gender identity. This is how they get your kids. They come up with a fun game, and then they insert SJW. And the parents don't notice it. They just see people bouncing around shooting guns. Well, your kids are following the comics, and it's normalizing like all of this BS.
All I remember is like Tracer, which is, I guess, the mascot character of that game. I remember when everyone's like, "Oh, she's bisexual," and I just remember joking, like, "Well, aren't all women?" That's not news. That's not news. The only question is, how much alcohol needs to be involved.
Oh, you mean she's barsexual? That's the term I've always heard for that.
Totally straight until 3 shots are in her.
Yeah, they just had to announce that, like how J.K. Rowling announced that Dumbledore was gay, just out of nowhere, because she could. Overwatch.
I was pointing out that it's not on the official character bio. It's like, buddy, if you dig into it, there's a whole bunch of lore. I haven't dug into it because I don't frickin' care. But so I might be getting a couple of the details wrong. All right. But no, trust me, they have well developed, the same as that. Oh, what's that other game? Borderlands? Yeah. Borderlands, where it's Borderlands 2, the cool alpha male character, they go out of their way to point out he's bisexual. And he's in love with his turret gun.
Well, aren't we all?
I remember when Overwatch was trying to crack down on pornography or things that were Overwatch porn, because a lot of it came out at the time. Big shocker, right?
Well, look at these characters. They're hypersexual.
I know. It's big
shocker. Look at Tracer. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, I read superhero comics, and I think that's a little overt.
You know what's funny? How I think the new Wonder Woman movie, they're imposing like really strict, like sexual harassment guidelines or something. And I'm just like, well, isn't that kind of the entire point of the Wonder Woman series, to be exploitation? Like, isn't that like part of it? Or am I just crazy?
Well, no, superheroes in general have always been idealized, and I mean, like, superhero women are female superheroes are supposed to be, I don't know, sexy. They're supposed to be sexy. Hell, male superheroes are supposed to be sexy. If you like males, they're idealized body shapes.
It's like, well, wasn't it?
I remember, like, because the fucking straps on Tracer's outfit, showing off her ass there. I remember at first when like feminists were freaking out about that character or something, and then it's like, no, at the time I thought Blizzard just said she was bisexual to shut them up or something, but I didn't realize that that was going to be the crux of their lore.
Okay, I might have overstated it. Maybe I just ran into some of the aforementioned porn or something.
Ran into in giant quotation marks.
During my weekly,
I'm on 4chan every once in a while. You got to keep my pulse on the goings-ons in the internet. Like, I'm not about to watch these damn Star Wars movies. I need to learn about them somehow.
All right, so moving on from Blizzard here. What else did we want to cover? Oh yeah, the atheism video. So Naked Ape, I think, is the YouTube channel. He did a video just absolutely eviscerating the modern atheist scene.
Is he an atheist or is he a Christian? Or
I think he's basic, as I understand it. I'm not an expert on Naked Ape. He's irreligious, but he's not hostile to religion, kind of thing.
Okay, that's not uncommon in these circles.
Yeah, it's sort of the Aaron Clary thing, where maybe he occasionally rolls his eyes at religious people talking, but he's not like he's not cursing God because of a tiny penis like one of the creatures in this fucking picture here. God.
I got a lot of people who said that on my survey. Like, I'm not religious, but I think Christianity is good for society, or that kind of thing.
There's a difference, and there's certainly a big difference between agnostics and atheists. Agnostics and atheists seem very close, but I would argue there's a world of difference between them. But he has this absolutely brilliant video, and it's mirrored. I've shared a mirror before on, I think, Gab and stuff like that. Check it out. But it got taken down for hate speech. And a lot of people are thinking that TJ tried to get it taken down. The anal atheist. Which, by the way, is TJ. TJ may arguably be the most disgusting person on the internet.
That is a bold claim, sir.
I would rather spend time with fucking Christian than TJ.
And his gash.
Well, the thing about Christian is Christian has no agency and he's just a crazy person. So I can't really hate him in the same way I'd hate someone like TJ.
Yeah. TJ is utter shit.
Because TJ kind of has agency. He's just a fucking douche monkey. Whereas Christian's a legitimate crazy person.
I don't know. Have you seen TJ's new look? Where he has a hole in the Bible and he has his glasses.
It is on the screen.
It's like, oh my God.
He has a video, and I didn't watch it because life's too short to watch.
He played way too much Vampire the Masquerade, I think.
He has a video that the subject is called My Small Penis. That is a video TJ put out, which basically, thanks for explaining why you're an atheist, by the way. But yeah, TJ is such an utter piece of shit. When you're thrown out of Channel Awesome for being too shitty, that's saying quite a bit there.
What are you talking about? Channel Awesome produces nothing but quality content.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, when the Channel Awesome people throw you out for being too toxic to be around, that's remarkable, man.
Are either of you familiar with the DSP meme, Why Am I Toxic?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because just when he was playing Dark Souls.
Okay. I know this moment.
Why am I toxic? And people just use it as a sound clip, whatever they're talking about. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
So
yeah, TK is toxic. Is there anyone who's a bigger smug piece of shit than Bill Nye?
Yeah, that. What the hell is that?
Oh, man. Jeff Holiday. Yeah, I was going to say they named him in the video. Because it's funny. The guy was making fun of him. It's like, it's funny how I can just look at you and know all your opinions.
Are any very disturbing looking eyes? That is not a healthy psyche.
Were any of you big Bill Nye fans back in the day? Like
no, I liked Mr. Science.
Really.
Yeah,
I was a huge Bill Nye
I'm a
fan.
touch older. I was more Mr. Wizard on Nickelodeon than Bill Nye.
I never liked that rat suit guy that Bill Nye had.
No, I think that was Beekman's World.
I know.
It was Beekman's World.
I actually kind of liked Beekman's World a little bit.
I preferred Bunsen Honeydew at Muppet Labs.
That and I also like Magic School Bus.
These shows bothered me because they can't just educate you on, hey, look at this. Science is pretty cool. It's neat. It's interesting. No, they need to dress up in neon-colored outfits and bop around like a bunch of retards. And it tells you that with Bill Nye, it came out of his stand-up comedy skit.
How funny was it when Bill Nye, how they censored the gender episode, the chromosome episode?
Oh, yeah, when there was an episode where they talk about how, your chromosomes determine your sex, and when they put it on Netflix, they cut that part out of the episode.
And I think it actually won like a bunch of awards or something. But yeah, they cut it out, and I had a meme I just was too lazy to start called "I'm a man of science and therefore I believe," and it was just dumb left wing stuff like "I'm a man of science and therefore I believe that evolution affects everything except for the brain." And one of them was that it's scientifically demonstrated that there's like 1 billion genders. Yeah, there we go. That's the one I was thinking.
You know what I loved about Mr. Wizard is like he just felt so like grizzled, and he used to like passive aggressively shit on the dumb kids with him. Like if you go back and watch some of it, he really just kind of like was an ass to those kids.
Oh, Mr. Wizard is alpha.
But it was in that kind of way that it was that kind of way that like a dad or a grandpa would rip on you when you say something dumb. Like, gee, Mr. Wizard, is it going to do that? Like, no, that's dumb.
If you watch that clip from the Bill Nye show where she's discussing chromosomes, there's all of these random noises in the background, like the spring noise and a fart noise and some random laughter. It honestly reminds me of those Bad Baby Colors videos where there's just this subtle, very disturbing distraction going on just to unnerve the viewer, to create an R type of child, because there's just this random chaos and uncontrolled, unpredictable. It's absolutely horrific. It's more obvious in Bad Baby Colors, but it's very much there in Bill Nye.
You just got me thinking about like all those Bad Baby Color videos, and I had like a mini Nom flashback to watching through those. You know what's really funny about this, and I mentioned it to the investigating YouTube guy when he was on here, but this is the thing that got me thinking YouTube damn well knows what the hell's going on with this and is complicit, if not active, involved in pushing this shit. Whenever I watch a new video on YouTube, because I'm always signed on, inevitably my fucking recommendations go ape shit about, oh, you like this video? Well, here's 1 million more like them. I have never had any of these Bad Baby Color videos pop up in my recommendations. And I watched a shitload of them when I was first studying that stuff. Never do they pop up in my recommendations. And the reason I think that is, if I'm going to put the tinfoil hat on here for a second, is the idea behind these videos is that you sit your kid in front of YouTube for a little while to watch a bunch of harmless fucking Sesame Street-like videos, and inevitably these things pop up, they don't want them popping up in recommendations because next thing you know, like if a parent clicks on YouTube and sees that fucking creepy man baby in the tub, they're going to go, what the fuck was my kid watching? I'm not kidding. I really think YouTube, I think somebody at fucking Google knows damn well what was going on here and had a hand in it.
What are you saying, Goyam? Are you saying that these are promoted by Disney? I mean, Disney could take these down, right?
Yeah, think about that.
These down. I think technically could.
Think about that. That's another thing. Disney is up people's ass about copyright all the time. And here are these videos in which Spider-Man, which is a Disney property at this point, is fucking borderline molesting children, and Disney doesn't seem to notice that.
Anything. No, they don't. Isn't that interesting?
Meanwhile, if I streamed 4 fucking minutes of a Mickey Mouse cartoon on here, they'd be so far up my ass, they'd be on my tongue.
Listen, when I tried to upload my review of Star Trek, it didn't even finish rendering before they told me it wasn't allowed.
Oh, dude, one of these streams we caught part of a Ghostbusters trailer. And automatically the stream is giving me messages while we're streaming that you have to stop or we'll shut you down. And then it wouldn't upload as a video afterwards.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Yes, there's no way that this is far easier to identify for an algorithm than clips from Star Trek.
Yeah, because they're all the same. It's literally all the same with different sprites put on it or whatever they're called.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot easier to teach a computer to recognize a picture of Mickey Mouse than to recognize a picture of corn.
Especially when they all use the same Mickey Mouse picture.
Wait, pole dance. What? What?
They have pole dancing for kids now.
Sun and Moon. They put Sun and Moon in there just to get kids that were idiots were looking for Pokemon videos. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm dying. I'm dying. My heart just stopped. It was nice knowing you guys.
Yeah, I was disturbed as shit when I first dug into the Bad Baby Color stuff.
Go back up, Luke. Go back up to the pole dance thing. They couldn't even put the E on the end of dance. Look at that.
Well, they have like a billion.
Sexy girls pole dance. Sexy girls pole dance.
I just don't understand.
That's a good thing.
It's all about destroying innocence.
So have you guys ever seen that movie Beyond the Black Rainbow? It was this obscure like indie film, but it was like, I don't know. I get that same feeling that I got watching that movie about like manipulation and insanity and brainwashing, and I feel the exact same way that I did right now.
I'm just going to pimp his channel again because he was on here before, and investigating YouTube has looked into this a great deal. And look, I mean, I could sit here and speculate on conspiracy theories about how Google knows, and it's all the Jewish lizard men from from fucking Saturn are doing this to us, or whatever kind of crazy conspiracy theory you think may be behind this. What's really good about investigating YouTube is he doesn't get into that much. He just lays out the facts of this is something that's happening on YouTube. This is why this is so destructive to children. Don't let your children watch it. Those are amazing videos to hand out to normies, because we can all let your kids watch it. We can all sit around and wonder why this is happening. You could think that it's some sort of evil conspiracy. You could think it's just an accident of content farming. The point is, these videos are out there and they are incredibly bad for kids. Don't let them fucking watch this shit. You know, your kid is better off accidentally watching a fucking horror movie that's going to give them nightmares for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's like normal scary. That's like not weird. Like,
yeah, that's like normal. You know, if he accidentally watches a fucking Freddy Krueger movie and it freaks him out for a couple of weeks, that's not going to fuck him up mentally. This shit is going to rape his soul.
What the hell am I looking at right now?
Let me be clear about all this stuff. The purpose of this, it's to create the art. Now, the R-type mind occurs when you raise a child in a chaotic environment. So whether it's a child being raised by a single mother, or a child being raised in a war-torn country, or in Africa where everyone's dying of disease all the time, it reprograms the brain to think that life is cheap, short, you could die at any point, so go and grab what you can right now. That's the leftist mindset. That's the R-type mindset. And so by showing these mildly traumatic images, or by letting your kid play Grand Theft Auto all the time when they're 12 years old, before they've figured out that it's just a fantasy video game. You know, a 12-year-old plays Grand Theft Auto, they think that's what life actually is like. And if you show this stuff to kids with the knife in the mouth and all this other horror and latent sexuality, they think that's just normal. And so that's the goal. Get the kids to be promiscuous when they turn 14 or 16.
Well, like, and I remember one of the all-time best arguments about the whole tranny thing is you're telling kids who still believe in Santa that they might be the wrong gender. I mean, when I was that age, I thought it was like a cyborg robot from the planet Jupiter. Like, kids just have...
You're a Chunibu.
And the other thing, this isn't the same thing as a kid's movie that has really scary parts in it.
No, it's like this stuff legitimately freaks me the fuck out.
Yeah, this isn't the same. Like, look, there were movies I watched as kids where parts of, like, when I was a kid, I watched
Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah, I watched Gremlins when I was really little, and that movie scared the fuck out of me. But you know what? It was a movie about a town dealing with monsters with a coherent narrative, and there was actual sense to it. You know, it was a movie. There was a problem. It was a scary problem. We overcame the problem. Happy ending all around. You can wrap your head around that as a kid. And yeah, the Gremlins were fucking scary when I was like fucking 5, but it wasn't the kind of thing that was going to warp my fucking mind. These Elsa Spider-Man videos they're gonna fuck kids up mentally.
They fuck me up, like, unironically, like, no bullshit. They actually like freak me out when I look at them.
Oh yeah,
Same here.
I watched it. I didn't sleep well that night when I first discovered them.
I very few things makes me feel actually nauseous, because I watch like R-rated horror movies all the time. These like actually bother me on like a deep level. I don't know what it is. If it's just they're just so weird.
You know what, Arjun, you were the one that first pointed this out to me, that there's something very life-affirming about horror.
Yeah, there is.
That horror movies are the most right-wing movies out there.
Yep, they are.
Unless you invite it in.
Yeah, I've said that numerous times on here too, where I've said, like, you know, most horror movies are kind of Christian, and almost all of them are at the very least pretty K-type.
Or they're just shitty. They're just a B-schlock horror movie that nobody cares about because there's no emotional catch. So that's the thing. If you watch there's some things I remember as a kid that were really frightening and scary, and they really stuck with me. And hey, if your kids watch it, maybe they'll be crawling into bed with you crying in the middle of the night because they had a nightmare. But ultimately, it's a life-affirming sort of scary. Yes, there are monsters out there, but you can deal with them. And for the little kid, maybe that means crawl into bed with your parents and they'll protect you. But it's still life-affirming, whereas these things just have a subtle wrongness to them. It's normalizing evil.
Well, yeah, also it's more real. I don't want to use the term realistic, but I think it's easier for like you to mentally separate like Halloween or like Friday the 13th movie than to separate this.
Like literal monsters are an exaggeration of the threats and the things we face in our day-to-day lives. These aren't representations. These are real.
Yeah, these are monsters to be overcome. This is, yes, on a day-to-day basis, monsters come and hurt you and cut off your fingers and just accept it because that's normal.
Yeah.
Also, there's always the issue of the kids they fucking eat that these sick fucks use in these videos.
Yeah, what's happening to them?
For a minute. Like, I'm like worried.
When I was a little kid, the thing that freaked me out, and I didn't even watch the movie.
Oh, that Joker is terrifying.
Yeah. The thing that freaked me out when I was a really little kid was when I when they would play the commercials, even for the fucking Child's Play movie. And I mean, I had my buddy doll even, and I didn't particularly want to play with it much after that.
Oh, that got me too, dude.
But like,
Hard.
even as a really little kid, I basically understood, okay, you know, a killer doll is not going to try and kill me. Yeah, in the back of my head, there's that, well, what if it does? You know what I mean? Like, the world's still scary and unknown, and maybe it's out there, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm in my house. You know, my parents are here. The doors are locked. I'm pretty much safe. You know, it freaked me out, but it wasn't like it convinced me that there are killer dolls just all over the place, and you just have to accept that one of them's going to kill you.
You know, let me tell you something about the film industry. When I was working in the film industry, one of the things I did is we were filming. It was a commercial trailer for this kids-oriented product, and so we were filming a bunch of kids skipping through the woods, that sort of thing. We put out a casting call saying we needed some children from 8 to 12 years old, and so the mothers all showed up with their children, and they just let me and my partner take the kids off into the woods to go film them. They had no idea who we were, and they just let us. Now, again, we weren't doing anything evil, but
I will admit to on film.
But you could have been.
Exactly. They had no idea who we were. They didn't want to supervise. They just kind of waited by the parking area. Nothing. And so you see these kids in the Bad Baby Colors videos or the Elsa videos, and you ask, how do these kids get there's a lot of people pushing their kids to get to become famous. You know, like look at the Little Miss beauty pageants, you know, look at everything going on with Disney kids and all the abuse that's rife throughout there. The parents don't care. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
The parents do not want to parent.
Daddy 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll just give their kid a device and say, here, kid, watch whatever.
Well, Daddy 05 is an example where not only do the parents not want to take care of their children, they're making their children take care of them.
Well,
because they're making money off of them.
Thing I found so interesting because it's like, look, if your kid ends up being a child star and they're making just shocking quantities of money, and it seems like that's the kind of thing where you could very easily just ignore stuff. You can very easily tell yourself, this is what's best for all of us, the kid included. Look at all this money. Look at all this money. I can understand the temptation to sell your soul for a fortune. Daddy 05 sold his soul for a few AdSense bucks.
It's
he
not
sold
about
his family down the river for what at best could have been an okay living.
It's not about the money. It's about the fame.
I mean, you know, if you're the parents of some Disney Channel star and, you know, the fucking 6 figures are rolling in every month or however the hell much they make, I don't know. But, you know, shocking quantities of money are rolling in. You know, it's easy to not see what you don't want to see. And it's easy to tell yourself this is for the kid's best interest because, hey, look at all this money. This kid's going to be set for life.
These people don't, it's not about the money. It really is. It's like all people see is the social currency of fame.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Everybody wants to be famous these days. I was having a debate. I wasn't debating. I'm done arguing with people at this point in my life. But I was on a thread about certain e-celebs. And a lot of people don't want to see it. But the e-celebs that are the most famous, it is 99 times out of 100 because they manufacture drama, because they're manipulative and they step on people, because they're fundamentally dishonest, and they are a part of the machine they're pretending to rebel against.
Exactly.
Because all they care about.
Yep.
I find that that's even true with the quote-unquote, I don't know how you put it, get-along guys, the moderate guys. You look at like a guy like, you know, good old Mundane Fat or something. Mundane Matt's a piece of shit. He runs interference for so many. Like, he's the guy that, like, you know, he didn't think there was enough proof when we basically proved that the drunken peasants were, you know, oogling a 13-year-old in their Discord chat. Monday Matt's like, well, let's get all the evidence. And it's like, no, fuck you and your pesky ad block, you mealy-mouthed piece of shit.
There's that thing he was shilling. There was some sort of chat service that was spying on you or something like that.
Candid.
Yeah, Candid.
Yep.
Yeah. And I could name dozens of names. I'm not going to, because if I name the names, people are just going to say I'm jealous. You know, it's like, no, I'm not jealous. I just wish you people would get better taste. You know, like stop feeding the beast.
Yeah, if you're watching Mundane Matt, I don't know. That's like even worse than
Sorry, who? I don't even know who is Monday Matt.
It's just some nobody. You don't need to know who he is. You're better off not knowing who he is. He's actually hard to describe. He's so fucking nothing.
He's aptly named.
Yeah, he's aptly named. If you're a Mundane Matt fan, that's worse than being one of Lauren Southern's pay piggies. Okay.
At least you know Philip DeFranco is just entertainment to distract you, you stupid fuck millennial.
Like, I don't even know who most of these people are.
Yeah, you're better off not knowing.
I guess maybe just because nothing they do really interests me. So,
well, it's the same thing. Like back when I used to be into music, I actually did prefer. I don't want to sound like I like the indie bands. You know, I like people that had something interesting and weird going on, as opposed to the perfectly shiny, packaged, sugary product coming out of Hollywood selling me fake rebellion.
Oh yeah.
I had an argument because I don't listen to it anymore because I've actually reached a point where I'm too old to even listen to it. But I used to listen to a lot of pop music, and a buddy of mine, you know, always bust my balls like, "Oh, it's so fake and manufactured." I listen to the rock station. I'm like, the only difference between the rock station and the pop station is the pop station admits it's fake.
ooh.
Like my buddy, and I hate that, and that's why I don't name anybody. But my buddy actually thought that the local rock station in our area wasn't corporate owned. The local rock station in our area is called 105.7 The X, and in most markets in this country, you can find a blank the X, 107.4 or 107.3 The X, or 96.2 the 96.1 The X, or whatever. Because it's just mass marketed shit. Now the rock actually in this country right now pretends like it's not. Turn off that pesky ad block. Yes, please turn off that pesky ad block.
You know, I'll tell you what.
Matt looks like you sucked all the personality out of Kevin Smith.
I'll tell you what. I am a hipster when it comes to gaming. Like anytime I buy one of the AAA titles, I'm generally very nonplussed by just how they're rail shooters. Everything the AAAs make is rail shooter with flashy elements to distract you. Like what I'm playing right now, there's a game called Darkwood, which is
I was about to recommend Darkwood to you. It's really good.
Subnautica. There's another.
Yes, that's the next one I was going to recommend to you. It's really good.
And I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Don't Starve because I suck at that game. And I get like halfway through the tech tree before dying, or the weather changes and I can't figure out how to cool off. But if you like a really challenging survival game, but they're all indie titles. You know, I'd rather give my money to somebody doing something independent and like even Don't Starve. Okay, I suck at the game, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Right.
And these games don't have agendas in them. They
don't.
And actually, Subnautica is really interesting because the guy making the game intentionally made a first-person shooter without any weapons.
Well, it's actually a fairly large team, but they are still independent. It's the guys who made Natural Selection, and like it's just wonderful.
And it's not some sort of pacifist garbage. Like there's all these sharks and shit trying to eat you, but it's actually got some really great like dystopian cyberpunk corporatist stuff going on. And it's there in the background. It's subtle. And I don't know. I've heard some people say that the plot's been done 1,000,000 times before. It's like, well, dude, everything
Not
has
this well. Not this well.
It's done very well, and more to the point, you have this very alien environment. And like, first, it's alien because it's underwater, and B, he actually put some thought. I'm not saying everything is 100% realistic, but it's more realistic than Star Trek, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Look at that freaking thing. Okay, that thing is like
the crab squid.
Yeah, it's terrifying. So yeah, I want to give my money to these guys. Like, you know what? EA does not need more of my freaking money. All they do, like, look at the latest SimCity. They absolutely destroyed it. They are not making good games anymore.
People are so afraid. This is media productions in general. When it comes to big corporations, it's the opposite of the too big to fail thing. They're too big to succeed, right? Like they can't make a profit without filing off so many edges that it becomes a featureless lump.
Well, when your game costs like $1 billion to make, you have to make all the money.
Mm-hmm.
FTL, Faster Than Light. There's another good indie game. Another one I've been wanting to check out is Oxygen Not Included. That one seems like a bit of fun as well. And the thing is, you know what? If I buy the game and I don't like it, well, like I'm down $20, right? You got a AAA title. It's $60 plus another $50 worth of add-ons that should have been included in the original game.
It's $80 Canadian now.
Oh, but yeah, exactly. And here in Soviet Kanakistan.
The first time I saw an $80 game, I was like, what?
Yeah. Subnautica just had its full release, and let me see what it's running at now that it's got its full release. So it's $22.49.
Yeah, $22.49. That's a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, if I can afford whiskey, I can afford to pay for this.
Yeah.
Speaking of video games, a couple of small little stories I want to cover here. Sony has its own version of Amiibos coming out, sort of. I actually saw this on the Pat the NES Punk. He does his podcast and he puts like bits and pieces of it on his YouTube channel, like by topic. And I generally like those bits, but I hate the sidekick Pat the NES Punk has that Ian guy. He's faggy as shit. But anyways, these are actually just little figurines. They don't even, from what I understand, have the RFC capabilities that Amiibos do. It seems like a very like half-assed attempt at cashing in on the Amiibo craze. They're going to be GameStop exclusive. It's a third-party company making these. It's not even Sony making them. And I don't know that Sony even has that many fucking exclusive franchises to really start doing this with, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know.
As somebody who's really into models and that sort of scene, Japan is really, really interested in making miniatures of things from fictional properties. They just love it. And this is more so about that than about the Amiibo thing. The Amiibo thing is definitely a craze here in the West. It's almost like Beanie Babies at some level.
But you have Parappa the Rappa.
I wouldn't mind having the Rapper one.
I wouldn't mind with the Bloodborne one, maybe.
I wouldn't mind having the Wipeout chip. See, this is where they get you.
I would sooner buy a 12-inch tall Captain Phantasm figurine.
I can say that I have zero interest in Crash Bandicoot. I've always found that incredibly overrated.
Careful, Bechtloff. Sounds like someone's breaking into your house.
I said I have zero interest in the Crash Bandicoot. I've always found him incredibly overrated. I don't like those games. I don't know why, but they feel like such a half-assed attempt at a 3D game to me.
Bechtloff, sometime you and me need to have a read-along of Crash Bandicoot High School or Crash Worlds Collide.
I shudder to think of what that is.
Wonderful, wonderful outsider art, we'll say.
We have such autism to show you. So I just thought that was an interesting little story. I don't have a ton to say on it, but it did seem interesting. We'll see how that kind of thing sells. Another thing is I've recently had the Mario cereal. I finally got a chance to try that. Finally, some store in my area had this. I think like a couple weeks ago, and it's actually pretty good as far as shitty sugary cereals go. It's like a better version of Lucky Charms. So I was glad to see that it didn't suck, because Nintendo cereal back in the day sucked. Holy shit, did it suck! So that was kind of nice. I always love cereal commercials where like it's part of a balanced breakfast, and then you see the big shit like beside it where it's like There's like an apple and bacon and freaking like every other breakfast food is behind it. It's like, yeah, you'll get all your balanced breakfast stuff if you eat this on top of everything else.
Ice cream is part of a balanced meal.
Yeah, ice cream is part of a balanced meal as long as you've also had a salad.
Wait, is the box going to be used in some sort of a game?
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that.
The marshmallows are amiibo.
The cardboard box and you play with it or something, or what?
The cardboard box on the back of it has a little tiny RFC chip, and apparently you can unlock additional coins or something in Mario Odyssey with it.
What?
Before I threw the box out, I actually cut out the part that had the RFC chip on it. Yeah.
I remember back when they were doing because I don't know if everyone remembers how much DLC there was for Mass Effect 3.
Hang on one sec, guys. Go ahead and talk. I gotta let the dog out. So.
Oh, okay. But there's I forget, there was some show I was watching and they had
Hey, buddy.
like this crappy paper sign up and it said, "Look here for free Mass Effect 3 DLC." Like if you look at the sign, you get free DLC.
That is like RoboCop levels of dystopian capitalism.
You know, I just recently, I had Fruity Pebbles for the first time in my life. And I remember these being advertised all the time when I was a kid, and my parents wouldn't buy it for me. But so I just had it for the first time. And do you know what they taste like? They taste like scented wax. Honestly, it's the most disgusting. Like I think I threw like half the bowl out. It was terrible. They don't taste like anything. They just taste like wax and garbage. Isn't it amazing that by putting these terrible cartoon characters on the box, kids want this stuff and they think it tastes good? It's like Cheetos. If Cheetos aren't orange, people think they taste disgusting. But as soon as you paint them orange, everybody loves them.
I like the Batman versus Superman cereal. That was chocolate strawberry, which was kind of interesting. Mixture of flavors.
What's this? Arthur Tintangel says, "Don't eat Kellogg's cereal. Muslim workers were caught pissing on the cereal in factories." Well, sounds plausible.
Oh, that's great.
I think, to me, the one of the best. Has anyone here played Persona 4?
I've heard. I don't even know what it is. I keep hearing about Persona.
Okay. Well, anyways,
it's Final Fantasy or Pokemon, but with style.
Oh no, it's just there's a character Nanako, and she's obsessed with the jingle for a local store, Junez. And she just sings the jingle constantly. It's just kind of a funny corporate dystopian thing.
Oh, I remember this one. The guys at Extra Credits were angry because there were some Japanese sex jokes.
Oh no!
Where the one girl had to pose nude in the game or something, and she didn't want to, but her coworkers convinced her. Or teammate, whatever. I have no idea what this game's about.
Yes, every day is a grade at your Judays.
What's the word for that? Eki. Yeah, there are some Eki.
Just got a super chat from the Resistance saying glad to have the regular show back. So thank you.
Going straight to the Bills.
Yep.
That's another interesting thing is. I've started getting into anime just for the fact that anime actually has some original storytelling.
Yeah.
Okay, most of it's magical girls, Sailor Moon garbage. Okay, 99% of everything's crap, but the 1% that's good is genuinely good, and you don't really see that. Certainly not with mainstream Hollywood. You get kind of the original Netflix productions these days, but most of the Hollywood stuff is just trash.
What, something like Kino's Journey or
exactly Kino's Journey, Psycho-Pass.
Oh, that's great too. Yeah.
Yeah, some really original stuff.
If I can just shill for a moment, speaking of people looking at good quality original anime, I'm doing my Evangelion analysis series, where I literally did commentary tracks for the entire series. So you can find that on my channel. And I have the actual episodes up on Google Drive, which I'm sure is illegal, but oh well.
You know what I'm really enjoying right now is Razor Fist is doing an episode by episode look at DS9.
I have also been watching that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, where he's going weekly, I guess. Each episode, him and his sidekick Taryn Gell are just talking about the episode. They're not even showing that many clips. They're just mostly them talking. They just got past the episode where Q appeared, which I think was only episode 6. DS9 didn't borrow heavily from the other Star Trek stuff. I mean, they obviously operated in the same universe, but they tried very much to have its own corner of things.
No, DS9's very different.
And do its own thing, which was to its strength a lot. It didn't ignore the universe it was in. It just tried to explore unexplored corners of it. I mean, the one missed opportunity of Voyager is of all Star Trek shows, you'd think that one would be the most different since they're literally on the other corner of the galaxy. And that one ends up humping the next gen more than DS9 does.
Cisco's also, I forget, it was someone, and it's like, I'm so happy to be the first black captain in Star Trek.
Oh, dude, that was funny.
Also, Cisco is a stone cold badass.
Yeah,
I love Cisco.
In the pilot episode, the Captain Picard is talking to Cisco because he's actually because for some reason the Federation has its flagship run fucking Uber drives all the time, but they're actually taking Cisco to Deep Space Nine for this assignment, and Captain Picard's talking to him, and the whole time Cisco's just like being a cold asshole to him. And at one point, he's like, "Have we met before?" And Cisco just looks at him and goes, "Yes, we've met in battle." And he meant by that when Picard was part of the Borg and ripped through the fleet, Cisco, that's sort of his origin story. He was on a ship with his wife, and his wife was killed as a result of that battle. So he's not particularly fond of Picard for that reason.
It's like Captain Fanta, or whatever the hell her name is in Star Wars. I'm the first female villain. And isn't it just disgusting how these leftists, it's all about their outfit. It's about their skin color or their sex or whatever other irrelevant thing. I'm the first whatever and whatever. Well, how about you play a good character?
Well, yeah, when that woman the woman in Star Trek Discovery actually said, "I'm the first black captain." Which, first of all, obviously there was Cisco, but it's also telling that Star Trek has had black prominent characters since the beginning. Star Trek had a black woman on the fucking bridge when that was a big deal.
Just like, wasn't there a black female captain on the episode Conspiracy of the Next Generation?
Yes, and not only that, but in Next Generation, I mean, there were 2 prominent black actors, although the one wasn't playing a human, but there was a prominent black cast member in Next Generation.
Yeah, Geordi.
Yeah,
and nobody thought of him as the black guy.
Yeah, nobody thought of Geordi as the black guy. Hell, nobody thought of Aurora as the black chick.
Contrast to what's that new spin? Not the Star Trek series, but the Orville, where the black guy is playing the black guy. Which it's not. I'm not shitting on the series.
Well,
I'm just.
In all fairness, though, I mean, Cisco very much was the black captain, but he was the black captain in the sense that this was clearly a black guy. It just we weren't making a big deal
in the way that Lando Calrissian was the black guy.
Yeah,
okay?
we weren't making a big deal out of the fact that he was the black guy. But
he was from New Orleans, right?
Yes, he was a black man from New Orleans. That was his character. In the same way that Miles O'Brien was an Irishman. It wasn't that we were making a big deal about the fact that he was an Irishman. It was just what his character was.
It's just that these people have nothing to their identity aside from the stereotype. Like, the people that hate stereotypes about other races are the same ones that can't view themselves as anything more than the
like the Cisco Ducat dynamic is like some of the best stuff in Star Trek. Like, I like how Cisco is like a bit more morally ambiguous, a bit edgier, a bit more conflicted. Like, I I don't know if anybody's seen the scene where he's trying to deal with the Maquis and he like loads proton torpedoes full of like radioactive materials, and he's like, either you surrender or I'll start shooting planets with them and it will render them uninhabitable. And he actually starts doing it and basically like irradiating colonies and stuff. But he's just like DS9, you got to give him credit. Like they took a lot of chances. I really like that they had an ongoing story arc that spanned multiple seasons, because I don't think any other Star Trek show other than Enterprise and did has tried that. Like the Dominion War was just kind of an interesting experiment. It's too bad they never tried something like that again.
Yeah, the closest TNG ever came was plots that would pop up here and there. You know, like in other words, you'd have a story in episode 5 that, you know, the seeds to it were laid in episode 3, for example, but they didn't really have, you know, continual story arcs throughout a season.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something I didn't see why people hated Enterprise so much.
I didn't like, but then again, I watched like the first season of it, which was absolute ass. But in all fairness, I mean, the first season of most shows is generally going to be the weakest. I mean, even DS9, which is probably the strongest of all the shows, and certainly had the strongest first season. The first season of it is pretty weak. And I mean, as much as I will forever have a soft spot for TNG, having watched a ton of it as a kid, the first season is probably the worst of that fucking franchise. I mean, I'll take a bad Voyager episode over season 1 TNG.
People are too hard on Voyager too.
The episode where like Tom goes infinite speed and then turns into a lizard and then makes Janeway turn into a lizard and they have lizard babies and then they get better and leave the lizard babies there. That is better than TNG episode season 1. Because at least everybody doesn't have autism.
Like the Naked Now. Remember that?
Which one?
That's the one where what's her name? She raped Data.
Oh, dude. And you know what? It's so stupid that Data gets drunk. Okay, that's like, I get it, sci-fi, and I gotta suspend my disbelief. But no, the robot doesn't fucking get drunk.
But Bechtloff, if you prick me, do I not bleak?
But no, God damn it. No, come on. Like, look, I get it. It's sci-fi. I got to suspend my disbelief. But damn it, show, you got to meet me halfway.
You know, I think the reason that Enterprise did poorly is just because it feels like a step backwards.
Yeah, I didn't like the idea of a prequel. I would have rather, like, let's shoot ahead another 100 years or something.
Yeah, there was some Star Wars video game. It's like I don't know if it's an MMO or something. I don't understand these new video.
Yeah, the Old Republic.
And it was set right after Voyager when species 4572 or whatever was attacking and infiltrating. And like I played maybe an hour of it before it was a stupid MMO, so I didn't care. But I thought the plot was really interesting. You know, like there's a lot of new work you could do in Star Trek, but no, let's go back.
Star Trek Online takes place in the universe. It's post-Nemesis, so it takes place in the universe that was left behind after they rebooted.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like the quote-unquote like time travel reboot, it's actually a separate universe. It's not true time travel.
Nobody cares about that universe.
And okay. Can you imagine? Can you imagine poor Spock? You fall in a dimensional portal into a world where everyone you know is a whiny teenager, and there's always a light in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Only the frat bros like the Star Trek movies. Okay, go back to the core of the series. You know, like kind of like smooth over some of the missteps in Voyager, and let's have a new Star Trek series after that, preferably with either a female captain with a woman's name or a male captain with a man's name. No homosexuals or trannies or anything else. Like, okay, Riker can keep sleeping with the female-to-male transsexual if he wants, but, like, seriously, guys, enough of the contemporary politics.
Well, you know, one of the things about that is, like, if you want to address political or social issues in sci-fi, there's nothing wrong with that, but you're supposed to do it in an allegory form. You know, the reason something like, say, X-Men is considered so interesting when it comes to racial politics is because it's not about any particular racial issue. It's just about racial issues in general. In fact, I would argue one of the reasons there's a movie on Netflix called Bright that I haven't had a chance to watch, but The premise is basically it's Dungeons and Dragons, J.R. Tolkien races in a modern world. And I've heard a lot of leftist
I was just
shit on
going to
it.
say it's low-tech Shadowrun.
Yeah, I've heard like a lot of leftist shit on it because the racial politics are insensitive. And basically what it is leftists don't want to see racial politics in a show if it's anything other than fuck whitey. If it's just about racial politics in general, in this broad fictional allegory sense, they don't want anything to do with it. Now, I don't know if this is a good movie or not. I haven't seen it.
It's got Will Smith in it. What do you fucking think?
I don't hate Will Smith.
Okay, when was the last time he's in a movie that didn't suck?
I don't know. I like Hancock. Everybody shits on that.
Bright was okay. I thought it was fine.
Here's the thing, though. The leftists are shit. Maybe it's a bad movie. I don't know. The leftists are shitting on it for being insensitive because they don't want to see racial politics that are anything other than white people are evil. Everybody else is the victim of white people.
Yeah, because you're right. Because like old Star Trek was really left wing, but I felt like they dealt with it with a bit more class.
Well, again, so much of it was an allegory. It wasn't about. It was about modern politics, but it wasn't about modern politics. It was about weird shit going on 400 years from now in space. Likewise, the X-Men is about racial politics. In the 60s, X-Men comics were about the civil rights era. In the 80s, they were about fucking apartheid shit, but they weren't directly about that stuff. It was about, this is just generally about different races trying to live in close proximity to one another.
Yeah, whereas now we have the Klingon saying we're going to make Klingon great again.
Yeah, you can't be that fucking obvious about it. And again, that's why, aside from some of the bad episodes, you can go back and watch the original Star Trek, and it still is watchable. Okay, because it's not specifically about, at least a lot of them, shit that was going on in the 60s. It was just about general human themes.
And you know what? There's nobody on. Like, I'm one of the most radically, pro-monarchist, traditionalist, whatever people out there. And like I don't think that women should be forced into certain roles. I think that society as a whole is a hell of a lot healthier, and that people are naturally attracted to these roles if you stop social engineering. But nowhere would I say that no, people need to have their rights limited, and we need to put the blacks back into shackles again, etc. Nobody believes that. And so they're holding up this absolute straw man and attacking it, which then results in the other side of the spectrum saying, well, if you're going to call me a racist, I might as well be a racist. And it's part of the whole, the growing extremism on both sides of the equation.
All right. The other topic I wanted to touch on is the just general kind of thought patrol going on in right-wing circles right now. I know Davis, you were on a stream with Roosh and
you
Lawrence.
got the notes we weren't playing.
Yeah,
there was
you were on a stream with Roosh and Lauren Southern and some dude who looked like he was 12. I can't remember his name. He seemed like a cool dude, by the way, but yeah, he just. Why was he squinting all the time? He looks like he was doing a bad Gilbert Gottfried impersonation.
He seems like an all right guy. I'm subscribed to him.
He's like a fine guy, but yeah,
he's young. He's very young.
Oh yeah, I kept joking in the chat. I'm all like, "Oh, look at that little guy wearing his dad's suit."
Oh, you mean Nick Fuentes? Yeah, he kind of looks like Ben Shapiro. Kind of cute, kind of, I guess.
Except, thankfully, he's not 40 years old. And he's like
that. There he is. He kept squinting in that thing. It kept throwing me off. Like, dude, stop. Like, turn your lights down if you need to. Laura Loomer was in it. Don't talk to Laura and her tire ever again. And Roosh was doing it. And yeah, you guys were talking. I only caught bits and pieces of it because, I'm working this early ass first shift right now, so it was past my bedtime. But a lot of people have been going after Roosh because he's called people out on, maybe you shouldn't be Lauren Southern's pay piggy, And you know, you get to they do so much good for the movement.
Wasn't one of her tiers actually you can call yourself my boyfriend?
I don't know about that, but I know
I think it was actually.
You could pay like $100 to talk to her for like 15 minutes on Skype or some shit.
That's the cringiest shit possible.
I mean, she was charging more than like she was charging more than like cam girls and findoms and shit charged to like have personal cam shows. It was unreal.
I do a bit of life coaching, right? And like, you know what? If Jordan B. Peterson wants to charge you $200 for an hour-long life coaching, psychology, whatever, I think that's worth it. I think that he's earned that. But here's the thing: Lauren Southern is 23 years old. All right, she doesn't have useful advice to give you.
The only useful things Lauren Southern has done is, first of all, she did cosplay, which I would argue is more useful than most of her videos because at least it's, you know, at least people know that they're just looking at eye candy then. But also, all seriousness, she did some good reporting in South Africa here lately, which I will commend her for. That's actually a good use of her fame and money there. But generally speaking, Southern is a joke. Okay? Her book is a fucking joke. Her videos are fucking jokes. If you are sending this woman money, you need to fucking stop it. This is ridiculous. This is right-wing political equivalent of Findom. Okay, stop being Lauren Southern's pay piggy.
$200 for 15 minutes. You're not going to get anything aside from a girl that pretends to enjoy you flirting with her. All right, there's a word for that.
Just buy some fucking porn. At least
is the word the girlfriend experience? Because my rates are way lower.
Speaking of which, Luke, could you throw up a picture, that picture I put on Gab involving Blair White? And this is safe for work. Don't worry, folks. That Blair White was doing a stream just before we were, Roast Me Live. And this was some of the super chat she got.
Holy shit, the thirst. The thirst. It's like I'm walking through the Sahara.
Like, motherfucker, it's cringy enough. Okay, at first I thought that was $50, but that's apparently some foreign.
I forget, like, because I just don't know
some other kind of currency, so that doesn't come to $50.
I forget. Is Blair White a tranny?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't follow people that often in these circles.
This guy spent actual money to publicly kiss a fake woman's ass, not even a real one.
You're far too perfect for us, but and look at him. Like he's like, maybe it's just me, but he looks like he's 55, and he's lusting after a 25-year-old tranny. That doesn't even get naked. Okay,
yeah,
like it's not.
He looks like he's 25, but has made poor life choices.
By the way, I love the comment below it. This is somebody that transgender people should be shamed to the same degree as crackheads are. They are pathological liars who resort to self-mutilation. Thank you, Doc Space Lord. Thank you for being the voice of reason in the Blair White chat.
Oh man, if this was a R-rated live stream, I've got this image on my hard drive that it's this long, it's a whole bunch of Reddit posts from R Transgender put together of this poor guy that got his genitals lopped off and the vagina never formed properly.
Yeah,
and
I've read
he was
this.
Like, stuck in bed 18 hours a day in pain and saying, I wish my family was right. I wish I'd never done this. It was a mistake. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
Well, a lot of them have to like use a device to make like to pull it open every day, or else it'll.
I have said on here numerous times,
and then they die of septic shock.
I've said on here numerous times, I don't know which is more degenerate, fucking a pre-op or post-op tranny, because if you're fucking a pre-op, you're fucking an asshole. But if you're fucking a post-op, you're fucking this weird artificial wound somebody made. And at that point, that's like some weird Cenobite shit. So I think fucking a pre-op may be actually more degenerate in the grand scheme of things than fucking, or post-op, I mean, may be more degenerate than fucking a pre-op.
Listen, the genital mutilations that work, they only need to hold it open like once a month or so, and they consider all the pus and blood that flows out to be their tranny period.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm like this. I'm
I
not.
don't
even
think
telling
I
you
don't think I
what's
want.
on there.
I could have gone my entire life without knowing that, and I could have just assumed.
Listen, I feel so badly for these people.
I do too. I do too.
Somebody in the chat, by the way, says that I don't know, 50 NOKs. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I thought it was $50 at first.
I think that's Norwegian krona.
Okay, somebody tells me in the chat, and I can't confirm this, that's about $6 US. This man spent $6 to tell a tranny she, in giant fucking quotation marks, was perfect.
Stunning and brave.
What the fuck are you doing with your life, dude? Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, you do a super chat. Hey, if people want to super chat me, I encourage it by all means. This guy didn't send $6 to say, hey, I really like your videos. Keep up the good work, whatever. No, he spent $6 to hit on a fucking tranny.
Yeah, I have a video I want to do on this one Twitch streamer who she had a thing on her interface where the highest donator would be the stream boyfriend.
That's a regular things with like a lot of them are ex-cam whores. Now they just play video games. They don't even get naked, and people are shelling out.
She does that, and she does jumping jack for every dollar people give her.
Do it. Trannies remind. Like, if you look at the Telltale Heart, the original Cenobite story, it's just this completely evil, depraved asshole that opens up the lament configuration.
The Hellbound Heart, by the way.
Yeah.
Telltale Heart.
Yeah, Hellbound. I always get them mixed up. But he's got it coming. The guy's an asshole. But whenever I see these trannies, it's like some 21-year-old kid that was raised by a single mom, never given an example of masculinity, and gets inducted into this cult on the internet, and that winds up opening the lament configuration. And it breaks my heart.
Somebody in the chat says say yes to Findom nationalism. But yeah, there's a reason I constantly reference Hellraiser, because first of all, it's one of my favorite horror movies, but the reason, or horror movie series, and the reason isn't because of almost the movies themselves, because some of them are pretty fucking weak, but the mythos behind it, the concepts behind it are absolutely brilliant. I would argue perhaps some of the most brilliant the horror genre's ever seen.
I'd say Weave World is far better written than the Hellbound Heart. I'm not too impressed with the movie series, but the concept is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the mythos behind it, and by the way, if you've seen the Hellraiser movies, you like them. Boom Studios did a fantastic comic book on them a little while back, which I highly recommend. But yeah, the mythos behind, because it just, I mean, that's where our culture is right now. It's a whole shitload of people opening the box.
Tintin Jill says Blair White was a super effeminate emo kid before becoming a cross-dressing sodomite. Of course he was. The poor kid, I guarantee you, single mother, no masculine examples, feminist teachers are metaphorically kicking masculinity in the junk, his whole education. Then he starts dressing like a pretty boy, and people encourage him.
He had a father, by the way.
What?
Or has a father. Yeah, he has a father, but the father, and according to him, the father didn't like it, but I guess, didn't really do anything about it.
Well, at some point, what can you do if your kid's been on Tumblr, your kid's been absolutely brainwashed? I mean,
how would you guys feel if they were your child?
The mother is more forgiving. That's what he said.
Is.
The mother is more forgiving.
I thought you were going to say the father wasn't in the picture. I was just remembering Aaron Clary's famous saying, "The father could not be reached for comment."
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't even know these people, and I want to cry for them. Like, what they are doing is just like, and you know what they like.
And the thing about it is, in many cases, they're living high off the hog right now. Look, if there's credit where credit's due. A transsexual woman. No, you're not a woman. You're a man pretending to be a woman. It's just a question of how convincing the illusion is. And in Blair White's case, it's one of the more convincing ones. Blair White looks like a woman. He doesn't sound like a woman. He doesn't have the mannerisms of a woman. The moment you see an actual video and hear him, you're like, that's the most gay dude voice that ever gay dude it. And those are gay dude mannerisms. But a still image shot from the fucking MySpace angle from Telescope, yeah, that looks like a fucking woman. That picture right there. that looks like a woman at first glance.
I actually thought Blair White was a woman when I just saw
if you know what to look for, you could see through it pretty easily. But at first glance, yeah, I can understand people falling for that illusion. So yeah, a lot of thirsty guys are probably throwing this dude money. They're kissing his ass for his mediocre opinions. I'm like, ooh, SJWs are dumb, LOL. Yeah, no shit.
Again, if he was still an emo boy saying this, nobody would pay attention.
And right now, Blair White's living an eye off the hog for it. But you know what? Looks fade pretty damn fast for an actual woman.
This is something
for your Frankenstein ass. I shudder to think what you're going to look like at 40.
This is something I said that Roosh misinterpreted on the stream about how the trad tots. Yeah, it's like, okay, wonderful. You spend your 20s getting rich and getting lots of attention from guys and whatnot. But what's your future? Your future is that your looks fade. You don't actually have the brains or talent to be Ann Coulter. And so you're stuck marrying a thirsty beta who's proud of marrying an ex-porn star. And Roosh was, I think Roosh misinterpreted this as me being vengeful. It's not. It's that, Jesus Christ, you are pissing away. You're going to be stuck on this planet for another 40 to 80 years. All right? It's like, yeah, you're 20 years old and it's all great. You got another 40 to 80 years stuck in this body. And if you piss away your 20s on becoming a tranny or being a trad tot or destroying your body with drugs and alcohol or catching HIV or anything, you've got a long time to suffer that.
I got to admit, if I didn't know, I'd think these were pictures of a woman.
Oh, the middle one is kind of telling to me, but
the one on the right looks like a woman to me.
The two on the sides, like on either side of it, that looks like a woman to me. And again, for what it's worth, yeah, sure, it's a convincing illusion. But that's all it is an illusion.
And men and women age differently. An older woman, even though she's not pretty like she used to be, she can have quite a bit of dignity, especially if she's a mother and a grandmother. Or even if she's just celibate, if she's a nun or something like that. But if you've ever seen an older tranny, they are absolute horror shows. They look like the Crypt Keeper. It is absolutely horrific. They age like a man in a woman's body. You don't want to wish that upon anyone.
And you know what? Look, it's okay. Blair White, as far as trannies go, is pretty sane. I get that. I get that. Blair White isn't as batshit crazy as most of the community, and that's fine. Give credit where credit's due, by all means. I've praised a Blair White video on here before, tentatively. And it's weird. There's so many thirsty motherfuckers that anytime I agree with this person, I feel the need to qualify the fact that I'm not trying to fuck it. Because that's just the world we live in right now. But fine, credit where credit's due. Okay, fine. You agree with a lot of his videos, whatever. But these thirsty motherfuckers that are just throwing the money at him, like, oh, I want to choke on your feminine penis and shit. Like
don't say that, please. Sorry.
And by the way, if Blair White came out in favor of an ethno state, all those fucking 1488ers would be up his ass about it. Would have their tongues up his ass about it. I guarantee it.
Blair White is
right now. Only half of them do.
Sorry. So Blair White's pre-op.
I believe so. Yes.
Honestly, I think it's creepier when they're pre-op, but they look fairly convincing.
I don't know. Castrating yourself voluntarily cosmetic surgery in general just really freaks me.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, the whole thing is disgusting, but as I said, the idea of fucking a pre-op tranny to me is not nearly as disgusting as fucking a post-op. Because you're not fucking a vagina. You're fucking an open wound. Like I said, that had
their testicles ripped off.
That is Cenobite level shit. Like that, fucking a dude in the ass disgusts me. Fucking an open wound horrifies me to my core.
Oh, it's okay to call Blair White mentally insane. because they believe that transgender, or what are they again? They're transsexual, transgender. I have no freaking clue. That is actually a mental disorder.
Oh yeah,
So
here's
they
the thing.
literally made videos on it, and then they try to, in their own life, normalize it.
Trannies will say that they suffer from gender dysphoria.
Yes.
And I don't disagree with them. What we disagree on is the treatment. I think the treatment should be to get your diseased mind in line with reality. They think the treatment should be to mutilate themselves chemically and possibly surgically.
No, they need medication
until they kind of sort of resemble the opposite sex if you squint your eyes. That's what we disagree on here. We disagree on the treatment. We're not disagreeing that there's a problem. We're disagreeing on the treatment. As I said, they think that, the solution is to mutilate themselves until they kind of sort. In other words, their solution is to mutilate themselves to be in line with their delusion. My solution would be, let's try and cure you of that delusion.
I like to put it this way. Imagine that a wizard showed up and cast a spell on you to turn you into the opposite sex. Now, and there's no way to remove this curse. The wizard disappears. Now, would you work on spending $100,000 on surgeries, whatever, to cut off your tits or to cut off your testicles? And would you spend all of this money doing that? Or would you adapt to the fact that you now have a vagine and boobies? Because, I'm sorry, if that happened to me, I wouldn't be particularly happy about it, but I would be even less happy about going under the knife to have a couple of malformed pseudo-male breasts. It's unhealthy.
That actually, I'd rather have sex with that than Blair White.
That thing on the left is kind of hot. You meant the one on the left, not the one on the right.
What's on the right? The cube? I'd probably rather have sex with the cube than Blair White. I'm not.
Praise be to Slanesh, Prince of Pleasures.
Uh,
The ruinous powers have placed their gaze upon you.
all right. I think I'm probably gonna wrap this up.
You guys asked for retard sex, you got retard sex.
All right. Doesn't look like there's any other super chats I was gonna check.
Oh god, yeah. Imagine Aaron Clary with tits. Yeah, if a wizard transformed me into a woman, geez, my YouTube money would
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I could live with that.
I unironically considered pretending to be a tranny when I was unemployed to get affirmative action.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd probably be getting me, tons of fucking. I'd have me all the pay piggies in the world. That's for sure. All right, folks. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I think we've had enough of the retard sex hour.
Death to the false emperor.
As I said before, this is the return of the Saturday show. This will be a regular thing. In fact, I'm considering the idea that maybe on the handful of occasions where maybe I got to work some overtime or something and can't do a Saturday show, I might have Luke just host it on this channel. He's uploaded videos on here for me before that were too big to send to me via a file sharing thing. So this might be a completely regular thing with or without me. But yes, it will be a regular thing with me. We'll keep this going. This is the epic return of the Saturday show, where I will be actually gathering up topics and getting guests and all kinds of stuff. So, keep that in mind. Every Saturday, 8 p.m. we'll be here. I'll probably still do oddball little streams throughout the week. But those are just small little stream of consciousness things. This is the official show returning. And so if you enjoy the show, you enjoy the content I put out, check out the PayPal, the Patreon down below. Consider supporting me. And also do check out the sponsor, because the more people check out the sponsor, the more the sponsors want to keep being sponsors. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff helps the channel. And if you're on the Facebook, you can follow me on there, the Bechtloff on Facebook, facebook.com/Bechtloff. I'm on the Gab as the Bechtloff, so follow me on both those places. I put up lots of stuff on there. And that's all we got for this week. Anybody got any closing thoughts?
One of the commenters pointed out that if Aaron Clary turned into a woman, he'd have to rename his consulting business Bitchhole Consulting.
Or cunt counseling.
I like that.
All right. Davis, thanks for hopping in. Always glad to have you. Argent, thanks as always for being on here.
Thanks. A lot of fun.
NC Clark, thanks for being on. Love having you on. Undertow, thanks for coming out of your self-imposed exile.
Jawohl.
And Artistic Layman, thanks for your sidekick duties as always. And everybody, I want to thank you all for listening. That's all we got for this week. Go to church tomorrow, you heathens. Bechtloff out.